All right, so I think the string thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Megan ZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting podcast episode. That being my ZardCast episode 107. Now it feels kind of weird because technically a couple of weeks ago we should have had this episode. However, things were happening. You were traveling that one week for vacation, Steven, and stuff. So we're thinking,
I
oh,
got the
okay.
flu.
And you got sick, and then we were gonna do it last week to make up for it, but then I didn't have any of my stuff set up. Been working too much, so I was like, shoot, we'll just go back to the normal flow of things, though. So now it's been 4 weeks. It's normally a bi-weekly podcast, but it is what it is, though. But Steven, how's it going, man?
It is going good. I've been kind of consumed by for the first time in a while. I've been just getting home and playing games. I haven't done that in a while.
No, yeah, I hear you on that one because Mario Kart World kind of had me like that, but I think Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think it's the first game in a long time, probably in a long time since you know you're in for a good game when you put the
Yeah,
game down, you walk away, you're trying to do other things in your daily routine and stuff, and then you're thinking it's like, dang, what if I did this and that in that game, or I'm looking forward to what's happening next. Like you're thinking about the
yeah.
game when you're not playing the game. That's how you know you're
Well,
playing a
yeah,
really good game. And the last time I had that
yeah.
experience wasn't, was way back last year whenever I was playing Metaphor Refantasio. That was probably the last game I had that gave me that kind of feeling. So it feels good to play a game like that again.
It's really nice when you just find that game that you're like, damn, I gotta play more of that type of deal.
Yeah.
It's
So
always a nice feeling. I trust me, Zard. We're gonna talk about the game later, but yeah, we'll go in depth. But uh, I'm immediately replaying this game the moment I'm done with it. It is most games I definitely replay eventually. I am instantly going back and gonna do like speedruns and stuff. I love this game.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll dig up in all of our impressions and stuff once we get to the one segment of the show. Obviously, we won't talk about spoilers and stuff when we get to it, though. But that's just a little bit of a heads up, though. But outside of that one topic, though, just to kind of give you a little overview of what we're going to be going through and talking about tonight, we do got to talk about that Legend of Zelda movie casting because they finally gave us the voice actors that will play Link and Zelda up in it. And that's not the only little bit of movie news. Apparently, there was some leaking and stuff where we might actually know a little bit of information of what's to come next from Nintendo in terms of their movie plans. So we'll talk about that. I already mentioned about DK Bonanza. And then in terms of some of the gaming news and stuff, we got to talk about Microsoft. I feel like every time we bring them up on the show, it's never about anything good.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Maybe the last time was kind of around Summer Game Fest when they were bringing out announcements a little bit, but outside of that one point in the month of June, anytime we bring them up, it's never really positive. So we got to talk about that. The games they cancel, all of that. I gotta go on my little mini rant about Analog 3D because of course that sucker got delayed again. Gosh dang it. Ghost of Yotei, they managed to have a state of play for that. So I wanted to just briefly go over some of the things I liked out of that. And then a whole slew of like short little stuff, but it's not nearly extensive stuff for Nintendo stuff, like game vouchers. We got to talk about that. Mario Strikers release for the NSO. Drag X Drive got some stuff up on there. Got to talk about some Switch 2 sales. So we've got some new updated numbers on that. And then we're going to round off the whole entire night with the Pokemon Presents predictions because that's going to happen in a couple days from now. So we might as well
Yeah.
go ahead and give our thoughts of what we can kind of expect in that show, though. So yeah, so honestly, a pretty good show tonight with all the topics given. So we might as well go ahead and jump up in it, though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into that pop culture segment. All right, Steven. So let's go ahead and jump right up into this Zelda movie casting, though, because of course, and I had to dig up the little tweet over here, though. But of course, you had iconic Miyamoto come out in his classic fashion, where he's like, "This is Miyamoto," so stuff is getting real every time when they have to say "this is," and it's whoever it is, though. But
Yeah.
let's keep it a buck 50. It's probably not Miyamoto actually typing that out, but it's probably somebody typing that out
It
for
was
him
it
now.
was a s- it was a statement that he definitely said, and then they were like, "Okay, go post it on Twitter."
Yeah, basically
He,
though.
he didn't he didn't actually type it and actually post it.
Yeah, no. The dude he's running a theme park. He's making movies and stuff like that. Like the dude's hands is pretty busy, and throwing a bone towards people developing games like Donkey Kong Bonanza and all of that. So the dude's busy. But anyway, though, so in his tweet he said, "This is Miyamoto. I am pleased to announce the live action film of The Legend of Zelda will be played by Bo. Oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher this name. Bragant Braganson son." And
I think so.
yeah, and Link will be by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth son. That's what he said in the tweet. I am very much looking forward to seeing both of them on the big screen. That was just post one. Then in the second tweet, he said this film is scheduled to be released in theaters May 7th, 2027. Thank you for your patience. So that is the end of the tweet. So yeah, so we got, and I got him on the little screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, though, you can see the actor for Zelda, and then you can also see the actor for Link. So it's like, okay, all right. So instantly looking at this, we can already go ahead and let out a sigh of relief. We don't have Tom Holland playing the role of Link, the
Yeah,
fan casting for this movie. Oh shoot, I've seen a little bit of everything now, but it's kind
I
of funny though. I was like, okay,
I really I really hope they take the path that they took with Link and Zelda and don't cast the celebrity for Ganondorf.
yeah, that's
Because
the one last missing piece of this puzzle is who's playing Ganondorf.
Ganon might not even be in the movie.
Well,
Ganondorf might not be
I
in the
think
movie.
some kind of No, I think some kind of
Yeah,
Ganon
Ganon.
related thing will be in the movie. Yes, I don't think
But
they'll
at
go
that point,
weird and do Pig Ganon. I think they actually would do
I
Ganondorf.
no.
I think they're actually
You
gonna do Ganondorf unless they did
what? Yeah.
something like Breath of the
What
Wild, where it's like
other
I don't know.
what other type of Ganon is there besides Ganon and Ganondorf? Yeah, and in most appearances where he's Ganondorf, he still turns into Pig again, and that's what he is at the end of the day. He's a power hungry pig.
Yeah.
Either way, though, I don't know. They could very easily take it that route, and he would just be all CGI, and he would just be voice acted.
They could, but I don't know. I feel like they're gonna pull a lot of strings from Ocarina of Time as like its sort of kind of foundation. They'll probably pull from a lot of
Yeah,
different other games, but I think at the core of its day, they're gonna probably stem a lot of it on there because I don't think like I think I report on this in one of the past episodes where this isn't just a one and done movie. I think they're setting this up to be like almost like a trilogy. Kind of makes sense. Triforce 3, whatever though. And if that be the case, imagine like Ocarina of Time, where it's like how like you're playing as Link as like the child, and then you get him a little bit older or whatever. Though, like there's like a kind of like an Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 ish kind of thing going on with Ocarina of
yeah,
Time. I imagine they'll do something similar with whatever this movie happens to play out as. So, and it's kind of interesting because when you look at the actors, they're not necessarily old. They're kind of on the younger side, especially for Link, because like
I
Link is like what? I said Link. Shoot, I should actually say the actual
I've
dude's name.
always I've always envisioned Link as like young adult,
Yeah, because
like
Benjamin.
Princess.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Princess Zelda. At least in Breath of the Wild, I think they state that it is her 18th birthday because that's when she's going to do that stuff in the Goddess Shrine. She's trying to unlock her power in Breath of the Wild. Remember?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
And that's
about
on
right.
her 18th birthday. So technically, if we're talking physically, in Breath of the Wild, her and Link are around the same age, I'm pretty sure. So she's like physically 19, basically. And
Yeah,
then in Tears of the Kingdom, however many years after Breath of the Wild, we'll say 5, she's like early 20s at that point. So like, yeah, it's always been around that age. If they plan on making another one, they want to keep the actors relatively young. So there'll be like relatively noticeable differences if they did a time skip like thing.
yeah.
I
Because
understand them wanting to choose younger actors, but I just especially with the Illumination movie casting, I thought they would have went for some more bigger names.
no, I'm glad they didn't go with bigger names because of the fact that if you, for example, when I mentioned the whole Tom Holland thing, you'd have been like, oh, they got Spider-Man in the Legend of Zelda movie. Like it's kind of a smart play for them not to do that, so that way you don't have that running in the back of people's minds whenever they're watching this movie. So you can actually associate these actors with the role that they're actually playing in. And then if you just want to know
Yeah,
like the ages of these actors, Benjamin, he's 17, I think. 17. I
yeah,
think
they're young.
by the time the movie comes out, I think he'll be 18, and then the girl's 21.
All right, which yeah, that tracks. That we'll see how the movie is. There's really not much we know about it yet. I think they look the part. I think they both. There was one person. There was a specific actor that people wanted for Zelda.
I think I've
I
seen that
for,
running around, but
I forget the name. There was a lot of fan casting of what people wanted. Some people were saying Timothy Chalamet for Link,
I seen
which
that one.
I'll admit that would have been a slightly better choice than Tom Holland.
Yeah,
Either way though, we didn't get Tom Holland, we didn't get Timothy Chalamet. I wish the guy good luck because people are going to, he's going to have all eyes on him. He's the main character. And I'm assuming Link will speak in this movie.
no, there's no way you can have a whole live action movie and this had to do like grunt like.
Well, I mean, you can. It would be more artsy if they did that, like, making a movie where there's like they show you more than they tell you. Like it can be done. And if a lot of people will argue that movies with less dialogue are actually better, depending on how bad the dialogue is.
I don't know, but then again, there's a lot of story in the Zelda movie, so obviously everybody outside of Link, there's still got to be a crap ton of talking. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially like Zelda is probably gonna have a lot. We don't even know if Zelda's gonna be in the movie a lot, or if she's just gonna be damsel in distress, or this and that.
I think it's gonna be a fusion. I mean,
I don't know. The
probably.
fact that they revealed the castings that matter the most right away.
Yeah. So
We'll
yes,
see.
yeah. So we'll see. So that's the last little bit of information. I mean, we know the movie comes out, May of 2027.
Do
So
we know when filming starts? I'm assuming not. I'm assuming they just finalized casting.
I think they just finalized casting. So I don't think we don't even know like
20.
exactly
Yeah,
when they're gonna go into like production mode. But
I'm kind of just worried about like Sony being involved in it.
I mean, Sony doesn't necessarily. I mean, they have their hits, they have their misses, but
No, with live action stuff recently, what fucking Craven the Hunter, Madam Web, that's what I've seen from them recently.
mm,
I don't know, especially I think it's the guy behind the guy behind I think it's Avi Arad is behind it, which he's like behind like Venom I think he's behind like most stuff with Venom in it, movie wise. I don't know. I'd have to actually look up and double check myself on that. I just know for a fact that I'm not necessarily fond of the people behind it.
oh no, the dude that's directing the movie is Wes Ball.
No, it was well Avi Arad is like the executive that they're working with. He's like a
Okay.
big guy in Sony, and I'm just not a fan of him.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
if you think
It's
about Wes
not
Ball, because I remember saying this on some of the past episodes, he's the dude that directed like the Planet of the Apes movies, which I always enjoyed all of those.
no, I gotcha.
But yeah, so I think outside of that, that's all we have on this. So we'll keep reporting on this mess when we get a little bits of information here and there. Who knows? We might get a dedicated direct for this thing whenever, like,
Oh,
what it'll
definitely.
be like what late in the second half of 2026 is when we might get that dedicated movie direct, like what we got with the Mario movie or whatever though. But yeah, so honestly, some cool stuff. All right, now we'll go ahead and swing it over to one other thing that we were not necessarily expecting to kind of roll out, but it just happened to randomly pop itself up though. But apparently, some stuff managed to leak out of Universal because apparently, word on the street is we're getting another thing associated with my boy DK. Now I know the dude already got his own theme park. He already got a brand spanking new game that's been blowing everybody's mind out of the water. But I'm trying to pull up this little thing. I was delaying for time while I try to pull up this little silly old tweet though. But apparently Universal had some stuff leak out of there where it was like, hey, you know what? Apparently there is another movie in the works, and it apparently would be for Donkey Kong. And I'm like, oh shoot. Yeah, so here we go. So the Untitled Donkey Kong Project motion picture US copyright was registered by Universal Pictures. That's all we have to go off of. Wario 64 managed to throw that out there though. And typically when you kind of see that kind of stuff floating around, if you know anything about your movies, yeah, that's probably more than likely going to be a thing. Because I think even back when they released the Mario movie, we kind of had an idea of DK was probably the next one to get a movie, along with Zelda. I think Zelda was the given second horse runner, but then we were thinking DK might have been the next one. Hence, it kind of makes sense now with his redesign, the brand new game on the Switch 2, him getting his own theme park. It makes sense with it also, the theme park being in Universal. It makes sense why, there would be an actual dedicated DK movie. They're really trying to push
Yeah, I
this boy
feel
into an A tier game or A tier
well.
character.
It makes sense. Like out of all of the side characters in the Mario movie, they definitely they definitely tried to put a little bit more of a focus on DK. They gave him that whole scene with Mario. They got a noticeable big actor to play him, and they gave him fun moments. Like him and Mario teaming up using power-ups was pretty cool. He was fun. A lot of people don't like Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I genuinely think that he did a pretty good job, and he wasn't as annoying as he usually is. Because he can play, I don't know, he can be good as characters if they let him. Like he plays a character in Invincible, and I think he does a great job at that.
No, yeah.
It's really, it's just weird with Seth Rogen, the stigma around him. I think he's fine though. I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. Um, I think he can carry a movie as the star. I think he's got it in him. We'll
Yeah.
see though. You got obviously Cranky will probably return. I don't know who voiced Diddy, but he would have to be in it. And if we're talking about a villain,
Oh no! Because if this was like a whole blown movie, I'm fully expecting DK and Diddy at a minimum. Maybe Dixie will also get thrown up in
all
there.
right. Well, Zard, I'm gonna say it right now. We're getting a Donkey Kong movie. We're getting a villain.
Oh, King K. Rool, yeah.
Give me him. Give me Keith David as King K. Rool, and
Keith
give him a
David.
song because it fits him.
Mm.
Do you not know who Keith David is? Keith David plays Dr. Facilier in Princess and the Frog, if you remember that. The
Oh,
villain
Princess,
in
the
Princess.
the Disney
The
Princess and the Frog. That
yes,
dude. Oh no,
he
yeah.
plays the
Hank,
villain.
Hank, yes. Hold up. Sign me up. Put that man down. Put
Yeah,
now I'm on board, Steven. Yes, put him down.
gimme. I
Yes.
want it. If they're gonna pick a high profile actor, pick him
No,
because he's great.
no, because King K. Rool, he's a little serious, but not entirely serious.
Well,
Yeah,
because King K.
I like that
Rool,
vibe. I like that vibe. I think he
King
could pull
K.
that off.
Rool is a very unhinged character. He can be very he can be very dignified, but he could also be extremely savage, really depending on the mood that day.
Yeah.
Which I would love to see that for a movie. I would love to see this villain that's both extremely intelligent and planning, but also when he's backed into a corner, he gets extremely crazy. Which, I would just love to see King K. Rool. I can't think of any other villain you could do for a Donkey Kong movie. What, you gonna do the fucking Tikis?
It'll be the Tikis or the snowmen from Tropical Freeze,
That would be awful.
or it would be, these, the Void Kong company and stuff that we managed to get in Bonanza. I mean, there's really what, three
Yeah,
different groups of enemy character. No, four
yeah,
different groups.
I absolutely see them doing King K. Rool in the Donkey Kong movie, and I do think it's real. I do think the Donkey Kong movie is a real thing that's gonna happen, and it will be teased at the end of Mario movie 2. Which I is it crazy to say that Donkey Kong will definitely be in the second Mario movie? Maybe he'll have a bigger role. Maybe he'll be traveling with the main gang as the muscle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, quite possibly. And then he'll be like, alrighty, at the end of that movie, he'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go back home or do my own thing, yada yada yada. Or he said maybe he'll say something along the lines of like, oh, I'm just gonna take like a trip or something like where he's gonna go out on the open seas, and anything about the seas in the DK trilogy, you know where I'm drifting with that. So maybe that's what I'm kind of lining up with though. But in terms of like, if this is real, which I'm awfully sure it is real.
Well, okay,
The
Zard.
earliest I think it will probably release, because like what, the first Mario movie was in 2023. The second movie is going to come out in 2026, so that's going to be next year. 2027 is the Zelda movie. I doubt they'll put two Nintendo movies out in the same year. So probably 2028 will be the
Yeah,
earliest you will look at for a DK movie.
Illumination gets movies out pretty quickly. 28 or 2029 seems fair. Maybe they could align the release of like a 2D Donkey Kong game to coincide with it.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. That seems right. Mario Wonder kinda was. I remember in an interview they said that they kind of upped the animation in Mario Wonder to better represent the movie,
Hmm.
just like the animation quality of the game. I mean, that was in one of the interviews. And Donkey Kong Bonanza absolutely is a great framework to like build DK off of. We could very well just see Pauline in the movie. It could just
Oh,
be something completely different and be like kind of like a loose adaptation of Bonanza.
it could be. I didn't even think about Pauline. No, yeah, no, she
I
could.
don't know. It
She
could
could make
be.
it. She could make an appearance in that movie.
They obviously have had a huge plan for Donkey Kong for a while, but haven't gotten to it yet.
Hmm.
I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. Obviously, it's a very like touchy subject right now because let's be honest, Zard. This is like an official copyright thing. The listing is real. We just don't know if anything's actually gonna come of it.
Yeah.
We're not. It's not if it's not like if it's fake. It's when
If
we'll
it
find
comes to,
out what
yeah,
it is.
when it comes out to
It
fruition,
could very
basically.
it could very easily be like a short movie that plays in front of Mario movie 2. Like how there was that one Olaf thing that played in front
You
of
really said
Coco
Olaf.
for Pixar.
Eh,
Yeah, sorry, not. I don't like Frozen that much. I don't really look into the
Nah,
characters.
I don't blame you. But yeah, so I'm
You know what I
looking for
meant?
I'm looking forward to whatever comes out of this DK film, because hey, look, the more DK love that's out there, the better off this character is gonna be. All right. I mean, this dude has really been places since the end of COVID. I'm just saying though, the dude came up out the ground running out the gates after 2020. I'm just saying though,
Yeah.
I'm all here for it. I'm all here
Well,
for it.
not I don't know. 2020.
After after 2020.
Honestly, nothing really happened with DK until the movie.
Yeah. No, I'm just
So
saying. Yeah, I'm
2023.
just saying that's two different eras of DK right there. Because prior to that, shoot, the dude didn't do anything. All the way back to 2014 was when the last time he had a game, though. But anyway, though,
Well, yeah, yeah. It's really just the rare era at that point.
yeah. All right, well, that's all I have in terms of pop culture stuff we have to talk about today. So now we're gonna go ahead and jump over to the next major segment of the show, that being what we've been playing.
And speaking of Donkey Kong,
Dang, man, you won't even let me finish out my stuff. Anyway, though, so in terms of what we've been playing, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're just gonna go ahead and jump
yeah,
up in this mess though. DK Bonanza, boys, because holy freaking shoot, man, oh man, this game right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It's game of the year contender. All right, I've been looking forward to this mess since after I was done with Tropical Freeze, which was way back in 2014. It should not have taken us this long to have a brand new Donkey Kong game. But man, oh man, I am ecstatic and through the moon with this mess. And the fact that, it's not just 2D, it's a stinking 3D game. And we hadn't had a 3D game in over like what? Gosh, over 2 decades since Donkey Kong 64. And for better or for worse, some people love the game based on nostalgia. Some people don't necessarily like it because it hasn't aged the best. I digress. I never went through and played it. I'm waiting on that analog 3D to show up in the mail so I could play it either that way or Nintendo puts on NSO first. Whichever way happens first will be the way how I play and experience the game. But I digress. Regardless, though, this game is everything that I hope for and dream for and wish for and more. Like they this is just a great old love letter to everything that Donkey Kong has done. Everything from the arcade games to where we're everything in the DKC trilogy plus Returns and Tropical Freeze.
Yeah.
And scattered in there's a few little tidbits to some of the other things like Donkey Kong 64 or some of the other weird offshoot spin-offs with Donkey Kong, though. They managed to wrap it up into one. Because I remember Steven saying how the director or the main lead of the game, he said he went through and played through all the other Donkey Kong games prior to this, and it shows in
You can tell.
every way possible in this game. You can absolutely tell. And I like how people were talking about the whole timeline stuff. I won't get too deep up in it mess though.
It's dumb.
But
It's a dumb
no,
conversation.
they reference a whole bunch of games up in this mess though. So I don't want to hear nobody complaining about that mess. I have a good idea of what's going on in this game at this point though.
Listen, we don't know exact timeline placement. The least, like, we know for a fact that it takes place like after all of the mainline Donkey Kong games. It takes place after the country games, takes place after 64, and probably takes place after like Tropical Freeze and all that. Who knows? For all we know, all of those games might take place a lot further back than we thought. A lot of people are just kind of confused about Pauline. Pauline really brings a lot of confusion to the mix. Either way, though, besides the whole Pauline thing, like it makes a lot of sense, like where this is supposed to be. And I don't even care much about the timeline because Yoshi's Island DS exists, and that fucking is stupid.
I like to think that game really doesn't exist. I just think of Yoshi Island on the SNES.
Well, no, it's an okay game, but any semblance of any story they tried to pull doesn't really work once you think about Yoshi's Island. Okay, you're telling me that Mario, Luigi, Wario, Peach, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Bowser were all born at the same time. They're all these sacred special children, which is dumb because then you have like characters like Daisy or Waluigi that are just weirdly excluded. It was dumb. It was a dumb premise from the beginning. I don't know. I'm not getting mad about that though. Who cares about timeline? I'm here to talk about the game. This game is great. A lot of people are trying to compare it to Odyssey, like, oh, I think Bananza is better than Odyssey, which I feel like it's a little early to be having that conversation. But all I'll say, Zard, is that this game does some things better than Odyssey. Some.
No, I agree. Yeah, because it does a lot of things, and honestly, in terms of like what you can expect out of the game, in case for some oddball reason that most beautiful looking Nintendo Direct with the Donkey Kong Bonanza theme Direct, if that didn't sell you, I don't know what will though. But no, if you're looking for a good representation of what this game is, it's basically all those Donkey Kong Country trilogy games, along with Returns to Tropical Freeze, were to merge with Mario Odyssey, was also to merge with an Incredible Hulk game with a little sprinklings of like Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom in some aspects from that game, not all of it, but a few aspects from it. And that's what you get within this game. It's a really magical experience, at least for me.
Okay, everyone's been saying that. I don't necessarily see where people are getting Breath of the Wild from.
I think Breath of the Wild is more so like all those little challenge rooms, like the shrine like thing. I think that's where they're pulling that at, and the sense of exploration. Because I feel like you get more exploration in this game than you do with Mario Odyssey. I'll say that.
You absolutely get more exploration, but Odyssey probably. Here's what I'll say about this game so far. The Odyssey probably has more fine-tuned level design because the kingdoms feel a lot more tightly designed. This game, I'll be completely honest, I've skipped a lot of the quote-unquote challenges they wanted me to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if there's like a platforming challenge they specifically designed to do, I haven't done it. The game makes it very easy to skip those like platforming sections by doing some crazy jumps and rolls and this and that. If you know what you're doing, you could skip that stuff extremely easy. But, Mario Odyssey I think is more tightly designed. I think Mario Odyssey probably has the more memorable areas. Like, I like the forest, I like the snow, but Odyssey probably has just a bigger variety of kingdoms. You got the dinosaur place, you got the Cap Kingdom with the black and white aesthetic it's got going on.
Yeah.
You just got a lot of cool areas in Odyssey, especially like Bowser's Kingdom and just New Donk City. Like Odyssey's got better. Like I think Odyssey has a lot of consistent quality, but I gotta be honest. If we're talking about like the main gameplay loop of just collecting stuff and the main controls, I think DK is better. DK is so fun to control in this game, and everything just perfectly flows into each other. And where Odyssey kind of falters when it comes to Mario's base speed, like Odyssey, like you can make Mario go extremely fast, but like it's kind of weird where it's just kind of based on the rolling, and when you're rolling, you have very little control of going left and right. Donkey Kong, you can turn on a dime, you can punch the cancel and air stall, you can do so many new moves. The skill tree as well. I really love the fact they've actually done a skill tree. It makes it feel like I'm slowly. It's a very good way to show that you're progressing through the adventure and getting better as you play. You
No,
get
yeah.
these abilities, get to explore more using your new skills, and those new skills that let you explore more allow you to get more bananas, which you use to get more skills. It's a very good loop. The only thing I could have asked for was some more different skills to purchase, or
Yeah.
maybe just more levels to the skills.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I've been thoroughly going through and enjoying about this game is, you and for all sakes and purposes, the game is pretty straightforward. Like it's kind of hard for yourself to get lost. At least not like without knowing where to go to next. Because if you want to, you can play the game in whatever way you kind of want. Like for example, if you want to just do all the story beat stuff, go from one point A to B to C to D, and not worry about doing a whole bunch of side stuff, you can do that if you want. Granted, you might be a little bit underpowered by the time you get to the late game, but you can because you can obviously talk to the NPCs. They always get to point you in the direction where you want to go. If you happen to get lost or if you want to know exactly what's coming next. However, you could be someone probably like me and Steven over here where it's just like you could tell you need to go down this path, but shoot, by golly, I'm not going that way because I see something sparkling over here because all of the stupid little or I say stupid, they're not really dumb though, but all the different like bananium gems that are scattered across this world, the shrines where you get to do all these little mini challenges up in them, as well as the little fossils. They're scattered all the way around this mess though. They're scattered all the way around this whole entire world though, and you literally can find this mess anywhere possible. And I'm like, goodness, there's so many times where I'll just be like, all right, I just want to find this one little fossil that's over here, right? And then once I get done with that, I'm like, wait a minute, there's another bananium gem over here. And then it's like, well, this actually looks kind of fascinating. Let me just go ahead and climb or tunnel down into the ground, and then boom, you might find a shrine. And that loop is very addicting. And then when you put on top of that all the different little transformations that Donkey Kong could do with his Bananzas, between like the DK form one,
Oh
the
yeah.
zebra one, and the ostrich one that they showed off in the direct, you get to unlock some more, but we won't say what it is for the sake of spoilers though. I mean, incorporating all of that mess up into the game as well, it's a very fun and a super addicting loop where I'm like, hey, I'm loving every single moment of this game though. And it doesn't feel like the game has ever gotten stale, which typically for games that might be open world or big open zones like this, you might enjoy the first hour, maybe two, but then after that, then you kind of fall off on the cliff and stuff, and you be like, okay, you know what, that's not maybe my cup of tea. Or it's like, okay, maybe I've seen and done everything. Each one of these zones that you keep getting further down into each one of these sub layers, they offer something unique and different with each one of these themes and stuff like that. I was about to describe some, but I can't remember what it was all in the Nintendo Direct. I got a little thing showing up with the direct feed up in the little TV though, so I'm reminded which stuff we can talk about, which ones we can't talk about though. They showed quite a bit up in that direct though, but I felt like they only showed like half of the levels, that you might have known
Zard,
about, but whatever.
I'm gonna let you know right now. They hardly showed anything really. At
I
least
mean,
they hardly showed anything of note.
mm,
Like they were just showing what they had to show. From what I've heard, the back half of this game is completely unshown in anything, like any teasers.
yeah. Ooh, but man, I don't know. It's something about this game that's super magical and stuff like that. I mean, even when I've been rolling through Twitter and talking about, or not even talking, but just seeing people's conversations about this game, man, it's been nothing short of amazing. And a lot of people probably was gonna dismiss this game, thinking, "Oh, it's just DK." You know, he was always been kind of like that B tier, maybe C tier kind of, IP or whatever though. And some people, might have messed around with some of his 2D games, with Returns and Tropical Freeze being the most recent ones. However, they weren't really going to probably try to give this game the time of day or whatever, though. But after seeing that one theme Donkey Kong Direct, that changed a lot of people's minds. And now I bet you word of mouth is definitely, helping this game out a lot, especially the
Oh
fact
yeah,
that this is made by the same team that made the Mario Odyssey team and stuff like that. Shoot, I seen people saying how, what, this might be one of the best 3D platforms that Nintendo has ever made, which that's a major accomplishment, because when I think
all
of
right.
some of the best 3D platformers that Nintendo has ever made, first one that comes up, or the first couple, is Mario 64 and Mario Odyssey in my mind. Granted, there's a lot of good ones you could choose from, but those are like the first two that always pop in my mind. But were you about to say something, Steven?
Um. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was trying to articulate like what I wanted to say. Here's what I was gonna say. Okay, I think this game is the best DK game already. I think this is already the best Donkey Kong game. I love Tropical Freeze. I really do love Tropical Freeze. But like I'm having so much fucking fun with this game. It's the freedom. I think Tropical Freeze is better for just tight level design. I think Tropical Freeze is like the Mario 3 of Donkey Kong. You know what I mean? It's the Mario 3. It is the best platformer in the series. It does everything the best. And then Donkey Kong Bonanza is your is your Mario 64 compared to your Mario 3.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong 64 feels a lot more in line with fucking Sunshine, honestly, where it feels, both games have their fair amount of tedium. Both games have a surprisingly good way of just really not telling you anything, and like there's a ton of like tedium and just going back and forth and going to do this and do that. And then there's also just the fact that both games are have way too much stuff to collect that they don't really clue you in on like any locations. There's no easy way to find the bananas in 64. Every character you need to collect all 100 bananas with them in every single area. It is so much stuff to collect. It's not even funny in Donkey Kong 64. And
Hmm.
Sunshine doesn't really have that, but it has tedium when it comes to the blue coins, where 100%ing that game is not fun. Donkey Kong Bonanza, on the other hand, it's like Mario 64. I definitely feel like I could 100% this game multiple times and still not really be tired of it, because you can do things in different ways every time you play this game.
Oh yeah, like your approach to getting each one of the Bananium
Yeah.
gems or the fossils, it could be completely different. Like I could tell, like there's something like every time you get a Bananium gem, there's like a title for it. Kind of like how you got the moons in Odyssey. It'll be like a theme's like, oh, this was in the side of a cavern or Barrow something. I can't remember the exact names for it though, but it's like a certain little title for it, for like a theme of
Yeah.
how you got that banana. And there was one where it's like, oh,
That's just
seaside
moons from
cavern or
Odyssey.
whatever. Yeah, and it's like, oh, you're supposed to just see this thing out of the side of the sea. I think one time I tunneled so deep in the ground, I happened to see it on my sonar, and I approached
Yeah.
that moon completely different from the name that they gave it. I was like, bruh.
I've just dug into certain bananas on accident before, but like there are ways that they expect you to get them.
Yeah, they expect you to get them a certain way though, and I like how you can have your own unique approach or your own story for like a lot of these different things though. And I think one of the personal things, like, yeah, it's cool finding the Bananium gems out there in the wild though, but I think some of my best ways of getting them is the shrines, like the stuff that might make a callback to like 2D level designs for Donkey Kong. Like you had some remade levels from DKC 1 and DKC 2 up in this game though, and I love those ones. It kind of got me excited for what could be the next 2D Donkey Kong. I would never was expecting myself to say that though, but if handled in the same direction as what they kind of did with some of these remakes, well, I've been like, shoot, I was like, sign me
Nah.
up. I could have had a remake of DKC 1 if it's styled like this, but
Well, I just wonder if they would go for some of the more action mechanics, if it would be kind of like an action 2D platformer in
yeah,
the same vein of like I guess the only example I can think of off the top of my head would be like Wario Land or something.
yeah,
Where it's difficult. You don't really see as many like action-based 2D platformers nowadays. I don't know, something like Metroid. Maybe they could go with like a Metroid type game for Donkey Kong. I think it would work.
hmm. No, yeah, no, actually,
Make
yeah,
You got skill trees. You could very easily make a Donkey Kong game where like he gets these upgrades that open up new places to go. You can still have him control the way he always does, and you can still have him go into like certain levels to do platforming challenges.
yeah, whatever that next 2D Donkey Kong game is, I think they're going to take a lot of elements from this one, and it'll be quite different from what we had within one,
Well,
two,
they
three Tropical Freeze and
it's
Returns.
either that, or they're gonna lean heavily into going back to the way that the country games are established because
Yeah,
they
because I
showed
don't want to
in
see the
they
country
sh-
games to just
well because
completely
they
disappear. But
well
yeah,
they showed in Bonanza that they understand that people do still like the country stuff. They have those side scroller levels which are a nice little pace breaker.
yeah.
It's nice. I like them.
But yeah, no, there's a crazy amount of Bananium gems up in here and a crazy amount of fossils. So I think if you're gonna 100% this game like both of us, it's gonna take you in the range of like 30 plus hours, somewhere between 30 and 40, depending on how fast you're trying to rip and tear through this mess though. Because that's the plan for me. Because who knows when we're gonna have the next DK game come out, and more than likely it'll be a 2D one that'll be next though. But no, I'm gonna enjoy my time up in this mess. I think I clocked in anywhere around maybe 10, somewhere between 10 and 15 hours. I think is where I clocked in right now though.
Into Bonanza,
Yeah, into Bananza thus far. Yeah.
I've played it for 15 hours. It says
Okay. Yeah. So wait, does it say how much I've been playing it for?
it probably does. I'm sure it will say, or if
Y-
I go to your profile, I will be able to see it.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
10 hours or more.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm between 10 and 15. Yeah. So overall, I've been thoroughly enjoying this mess though. I love all the callbacks. I love all the references. Seeing Cranky up in the game. Seeing old and new alike. Pauline as a character. I think that's the one thing we hadn't really touched on. We touched on mostly
For
everything but Pauline.
Yeah,
Um,
it's very interesting to have a fully voice acted character in a Mario game, or in a Mario series game.
Yeah, because I mean,
I
we got
think,
a little close within Odyssey. It's like they did the toe in the water though, but this
yeah,
one is like a whole lot more. And it's not like she
I
overdoes it in any kind of stretch of the imagination, but I think it's just done just enough and well enough where it's like she speaks at the points where it's the most
yeah,
where it makes the most sense. Like obviously when you get into the stronger story bits and stuff like that, and then also you had some stuff on the side like every time you take a nap and she just kind of has like a little chat with DK or whatever. Though it's those little small moments I actually thoroughly enjoy.
yeah. There are once in a while there are moments where I'll get a little annoyed with a line from Pauline, or the voice acting will be a little inconsistent, which apparently this is the voice actor's first role. But like, it's not horrible. Pauline could be a lot worse, and I think she's really interesting. I'd rather her be in this game than her not be in this game. I like seeing all the little outfits she has. I think the friendship that she has with Donkey Kong is really cute. You got big, big muscle DK. and then Pauline's the one that's kind of the player guide, kind of like your equivalent to Cappy, or your Flood, or your Luma from Galaxy, your little partner that gives you the abilities. Because
Mm.
she kind of opens up the whole Bananza thing, and I like the vocal tracks. Some of them are better than others. The ostrich one is the best, so but definitely.
Yeah. Uh, And oh, you know what? It just popped up on the screen. I gotta mention about this. The little old amiibo you get for this thing. That's just a chef's kiss. That's just a pure work of art right
I
there.
like the amiibo.
That's just the icing on top of the cake. Like the game's good, everything though. I mean, the only little tidbit I'll say about this message, I did pre-order that amiibo at Best Buy. I think they had a late running truck or something like that, so I had to cancel that and run over to my Target because they said they got like 7 or 8 of them. They didn't have them out on the floor. I had to pull a little somebody that was working from oh gosh, somebody that was working from the back in the back room or whatever though. I was like, look here, I know y'all got them suckers in the back. Bring me my stuff. He's like, oh, this released today, huh? And I was like, yeah, you better know it. But anyway
If you
though.
didn't know,
Oh no, he must have known whenever I came up in there and was asking for it, and obviously it wasn't out there on the shelf. But yeah, so honestly, this game is freaking phenomenal. That's all we can probably say in terms of just raw impressions. Not going too deep up into the spoilers though. But yeah, no. I mean, this game is absolutely phenomenal. If you have a Nintendo Switch 2, this should be a game that you should get without any question. Like a lot of people are gonna get obviously Mario Kart World. That's the game that's bundled with the system. If you choose to get that one $500 SKU system, no. But at the same point, I'm like, man, this is the big AAA definitive experience where I'm like, hey, you can get yourself lost up in this game. Like now, I'm on track for putting more hours into this game than I am ever really gonna get close to with Mario Kart World though. So I'm like, hey, you know what? This has been
oh,
everything.
you'll
I
definitely
mean,
put more
eventually,
hours
I'll
into
get
Mario
more.
Kart
I'll get
eventually.
more into Mario Kart World, but as it stands now, I think I put more time into this now than I have with Mario Kart World though.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
I'm at that point now though. But yeah, no, this game, if you're gonna get a Switch 2, you better pick this mess up. And gosh, with the
Yeah,
fact that this game is sitting at a Metacritic score at like a 90 right now, it was going back
I
and forth
think
between
so.
90 and 91. I think this is in the camp that is going to be firmly nominated into Game of the Year contender. I think
It
so.
better. It fucking
I
better.
really hope so
Because
because
this
I mean
right now, this
Astrobot
is the
made it in
only
last year, so I'm like, hey, you got to put this game up in there.
this is the only game so far I can think of. Metroid Prime 4 is gonna definitely be a masterpiece, but
I just don't know if you're gonna get 2 Nintendo games because I think so far right now, based upon the games that came out this year, you're probably gonna get Cleric Skirb up in there. You'll
well,
maybe
obviously that's the big like industry plant everyone is
yeah,
talking about right
you'll get
now.
that one. You'll get Death Stranding 2 possibly,
Yeah, it
and
will.
then you'll get this game right now as it stands right now. In the future, I
Ghost
know
of
what Ghost of
Yotei.
Yotei will probably also get up in there as well. And then you're trying to figure out what will be those last two. But I feel pretty confident on those
There
four
was
that
like
I
a
just said.
I swear there was like a big game at the beginning of this year. I'm thinking.
It must not have been that big for me to remember, to be honest. Though I mean, Xbox hadn't put out a really the biggest game
Um.
that they probably put out
Okay.
was Doom: The
So
Dark Ages, but that won't get nominated.
I. Yeah, probably not. It didn't really get talked about much after release, but I liked it. Monster Hunter Wilds will probably get nominated for something. Assassin's Creed Shadows, no one fucking cares about. Um, I was gonna say Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably gonna win Best Anticipated Game again.
Yeah,
But like that's enough about Game Awards and Game of the Year because Donkey Kong better just be there or some. It better be there at 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 all.
yeah. No, it has to be. I was like, I would not settle for anything less. It absolutely has to be. Because personally speaking, this is going to be one of the two highly anticipated ones that I was looking forward to. It was between this and Ghost of Yotei. Those are
Well,
going to be
I
my
think
personal game of the year contenders for me
I think
personally.
this game will probably win Best Action Adventure, and then Mario Kart would obviously win Best Racing or Best Family Game.
Yeah.
Who knows? We will see where everything ends up involving that. But all I can say is that Donkey Kong Bonanza absolutely is a masterpiece that should be enjoyed by everybody. It is a fun game. It is the definition of a sandbox platformer. Odyssey was a sandbox in quotations, but this is a sandbox. You can smash all you want. You can mine throughout an entire layer and make your own paths. And the fact that all of the destruction stays is really awesome.
I
Not
was
to mention,
honestly thinking it was gonna reset at
amazing.
some point, but it has
Yeah,
not.
only
Uh,
only when you manually reset it,
hmm. But yeah, no,
it
that
is
it's really
awesome.
cool. It's really good. It's really good. And
It
man,
is.
oh man, I'm ecstatic about this game. I don't know. When the pod is done, I might be able to squeeze in a little bit more time. But I gotta open tomorrow though.
Oh, I'm
But
playing it as we speak. I'm on the racing. Oh, I'm on the racing thing. They showed it in the trailer, so I can talk about it. I'm doing the racing.
okay. All right. Well, that's all we're gonna leave it at in terms of our
Yeah,
talks on DK Bonanza. And to be fair, that's probably all we've been recently playing for the most part. So there's probably not
yeah,
much of anything else that we can really talk about though. All right, so that's gonna do it in terms of that one segment of the show. So now we're gonna jump over to the next major segment, that being what's in the gaming news. All right, so now in classic fashion, every time we bring these suckers up, it's never about anything good. And yes, I'm referring to
yeah.
Xbox because apparently Xbox has laid off another round of people, and it was a good sizable chunk amount of people that they actually managed to go through and lay off. Unfortunately, though, because I felt like the last time they laid off some people, it honestly did not feel that long ago though. But yeah, apparently, roughly about 15,000 plus employees were essentially laid off at Microsoft. Now, some of it could have been part gaming, some of it could just be Microsoft in general, though. But apparently, according to like Seattle Times and stuff, it could have been in spot of freeing up spending for AI because we know how all these companies are about AI. It's like an arms race. They're trying to be the first one to kind of get
Well, it's
well
like it's
adapted
the
to
next
it.
big thing like NFTs, where NFTs got really big for a bit. Everyone did them, and then everyone. I think all of these companies are gonna realize through all of these bad experiences with AI that it's not the correct way to go. For example, I brought it up a couple months ago, but do you remember that thing that Fortnite did where it was like an AI Darth Vader voice?
Oh yeah, that
That
thing.
thing was saying slurs left and right,
Yeah.
and here's the thing: AI is impressive with its capabilities, but it's also unruly. It is uncontrollable. It is inconsistent, and it does not have clear judgment or clear like polish. Like you can tell almost instantly when something's artificially generated, whether it's a script, whether it's visuals, whether it's an audio. It of course it is getting a little harder and harder to tell what's AI and what's not. But at the end of the day, it's got something that doesn't have AI. It just feels soulless. Well, I'm sorry, something that has AI just can feel soulless at times. So I feel like, we're getting constant, whether it's from media or whether it's from artists or this and that. I think people are getting sick and tired of this AI shit. And for gaming especially, there's probably going to be some major movement to prevent it being used in the industry.
Yeah, so I just feel bad for all of the people that lost their jobs, especially for
Yeah.
those that are in that was on the gaming division side and got laid off because obviously with all of those different layoffs of all of these different these different people though. I mean, you also had a couple of, or I say couple, I think it was mainly just one studio closure though, which ultimately led to two other games being canceled. And it kind of irked me just a little bit though, because apparently Perfect Dark is canceled. And we remember we saw that game have a full trailer and everything. Not not last month, but a year and a month
Summer Games
ago,
Fest.
Summer Game
No,
Fest of last year, they showed us a trailer of that game, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm really looking forward to this game. No, nope, that's off the books. It's canceled. And
we seen
also
it
Rare's,
recently.
yeah, and then also Rare's Everwild has also been canceled.
My God.
So yeah, so I'm like, goodness. I was like, finally, when you finally get another new Rare game that's not a oh gosh, what's the name of the game? You know what game I'm talking about. The pirate game, Steven. That's a Rare
Sea of
game. Sea of
Thieves.
Thieves. One that's not a Sea of Thieves game because obviously they've been doing a lot of live updates for that
It's
game though.
Everwild, you said already?
Yeah,
Perfect Dark and
Everwild.
Everwild.
Yeah, and they just got canceled. I was like, you have got to be. That was one of the few Xbox games where I was like, outside of like Doom, which I always love my Doom games. I'll mess around with those, but that was before Xbox
Yeah.
acquired them. That was more like a
Some of the
Bethesda-ish kind of game though. But no, I was actually looking forward to possibly messing around with Perfect Dark, and then they went and gone and canceled that. And I think the studio that was behind it was the Initiative, and that was like one of the last few studios that Xbox made from the ground up, saying, "Hey, we can still make a brand new studio from the ground up, and have them work on amazing games and stuff like that." They were mostly only working on that Perfect Dark reboot, and that was it. And they went and canceled them, so they have nothing to show for out of that one
reminds me
studio. That's
reminds
crazy.
me of the Concord studio, Firewalk or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because at
Um,
least they were known to do a couple other things before that, before they got bought out by Sony, and then they started, working with Concord or whatever. Though, but this one, it was purely foreign, and that was going to be their very first game. Couldn't even get that out the door. We went ahead and canceled that. I was like, oh my gosh, can't even catch a
yeah,
break.
it was not a good look, honestly, for them. I would almost feel bad, but like I don't know, Rare has Rare been really? I know people like Sea of Thieves, but like I don't know, they're just not the same company anymore.
No,
Microsoft obviously has them doing something different from what they used to do. I don't know. Perfect Dark did not really look all that great in my opinion, but the fact of the matter is I'm not it should have still released. Even if it's a game I wouldn't have played, someone would have played it and someone would have liked it.
it probably would have been me. I don't know whether or not I would have liked it, but it would have been at least me. That would have been the one Xbox game I'm like, all right,
Yeah, I
Xbox, you
know.
got one shot.
This is the main thing. Xbox, the games that they did have that people were excited for are rapidly decreasing. Like, come on, Xbox. Every single time we got to put you through the ringer. You don't have games. You have nothing. Like Nintendo has been growing ever since they've been successful. Nintendo has done nothing but gain employees and make more money. And I listen. I know that they've made some stupid decisions in the past, Nintendo, but they at least know they know that they need quality games in order to keep their business going. Xbox is not gonna survive on just Game Pass and third parties. No one cares about getting an Xbox nowadays. Especially PCs are getting more accessible. Phone gaming is getting more powerful. A lot less people can justify the amount that you have to spend for an Xbox, especially after those price increases on the consoles.
Yeah, because I was literally looking at. I was just curious. I was like, I remember there was price increases, and I was like, yeah, how much is it to get a Xbox? Just the basic one, a Series
Series
X.
X
Yeah, a
or
Series
Series
X,
X?
and I was looking up on Best Buy. I was like, how much is a Series X with the disc drive? Because I
Six
remember it
hundred.
went up, and I was like, $600. I was like, dog, the PS5 with the disc drive already in it is 500. What kind of
And
extra incentive
people
are you going to get people to buy an Xbox
and
versus
people are
a PS5
saying,
at this point, especially when you're putting your games everywhere, including on the PS5?
yeah, especially because I remember a lot of people saying, "Oh, the Switch 2 is just an Xbox Series S, but on the go." And yeah, that's a good argument, honestly. It has the capabilities of an Xbox Series S, but it's fully portable for only like $70 more. Like
Well,
Xbox
you
Series
say only $70
Series
more
S.
dollars.
Well,
Well, oh
well,
no,
yes,
never mind. You're saying that based upon
because they did the
the
380,
increase. Yeah, the
the new
three.
price increase.
Okay.
Which yeah, I know Series S you can find it pre-owned places. I bet. Fact of the matter is though that like the Xbox Series S was the only reason. Like Xbox Series S was a relatively affordable way for entry level gaming. But now, like 400 at that point, well, yeah, almost 400, you can get a fucking PS5 for around that on a sale. I think a PS5 with disc drive, I think the slim model, when it's on sale, you can find it for around 400
Yeah, and I
and 450 for like a bundle with Astrobot, I think it was.
yeah, and I know it's ridiculous with Xbox because I think like what the 2 terabyte version with the disk drive is close to $700, and at that point you're on par with the PS5 Pro, which is actually gonna run games better on that system versus just the basic old Series X. So I don't know. I feel like Microsoft really been shooting themselves in the foot here as of late. I know some of it's part to do with tariffs, whatever though. But I mean, when you make the decisions to lay off that many people and shut down games or cancel games that people were really looking forward to. Now, honestly, I don't feel like had no business. I mean, shoot, that Perfect Dark game was probably gonna be better than that crazy old Redfall game that you put out how many months ago. So I'm just saying though. So whatever, I don't know. Xbox is weird or whatever though. So I don't know. I'm tired of bringing them up all the time because we can never say anything really good about this company anymore. PlayStation goes back and forth. Nintendo's generally good, and Xbox has just been the bad. I'm like, oh gosh, the tales of the good, bad, and ugly. I guess whatever. All right, I'm done ranting about Microsoft. Good gracious, sakes alive. We're
Yeah.
moving on. We're moving on.
Yeah, no, just they gotta get their shit together because first with Hi-Fi Rush, which Hi-Fi Rush was one of the best Xbox games I have played, and then they did this, which Rare is probably like what do they have now? What is Rare doing now? Are they just the fucking Sea of Thieves company?
They're just Sea of Thieves now apparently because they cancel Everwild. I don't know any other games that Rare is working on at this point.
Remember?
So
Well, yeah. I was just say I remember Platinum Games when Scalebound was canceled. That was also an Xbox thing. Xbox is just not in a good spot right now when it comes to all that.
no,
Especially when remember we got that Insomniac plan leaked, and Sony's got like a Venom game coming. Wolverine's still on the docket. Like, say what you want about PlayStation not having a lot of games, they at least announce stuff. Like, they at least have stuff on their slate. Like, eventually, you're gonna have those games release.
I mean yeah, because like what for PlayStation we know for the rest of this year, Ghost of Yotei is their flagship. But then even beyond that, like you said, there's Wolverine. We know in theory there would be technically a Venom game or whatever though. You have Naughty Dog's game that's in the works right now, the new IP or whatever though. That's just a handful of games that we know about, and then there'll probably be some that we just don't hear about, but they'll announce them 2 years early or something like that though. At least we know about a few of them in the works though. But Xbox is just like I don't know. For as many studios as they bought out, it you would think now we should be seeing the fruits of their labor, but that has still not really came to fruition just yet. So I don't know. It's just odd. It's just really odd. All right, I'm done with Microsoft. All right, we're moving on though. Well, I thought it was gonna be something positive, but it's gonna be a little bit more on the rainy side. But what were you about to say?
I just have to run to the bathroom quick.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll rant while you're out
Yeah,
though,
that's fine.
because apparently the Analog 3D this mess was supposed to release later on this month. Like it should have been releasing honestly within or shipping within this upcoming week. And Analog came out in a statement saying, "Oh, you know what? We're actually gonna delay the release of this thing now." Because they said, quote unquote, following last week's sudden tariffs changes, Analog 3D will now begin shipping next month, that being in August. We're absorbing the cost. Your pre-order price stays the same, no additional charges. And I was like, wait, what the freak? Like, what are you talking about? talking about, hey, you don't have to worry about the fact that, we don't have to worry about tariffs or anything like that. This console was originally supposed to ship out in Q1 of 2025. That's basically being January, February, or March. That was way before we had different people in offices and started to do the things with the tariffs or whatever, though. I was like, brother. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, we still had not seen a lick of like screenshots or anything with video or something like that of this system running. Now, granted, Analog 3D, for all the stuff they put out in the past, if you think about like with the Game Boy Pocket and all of that, though, they put out really good devices, and for all sakes and purposes, all their stuff they put out is generally good. Heard they did good stuff with the NES and Super Nintendo versions of their consoles or whatever, though. But the fact that their business model is not really good, they keep you in the dark. They basically already took our money. And outside of just what you saw on that original page listing for all the specs and stuff of this system, we know it's an FPGA system and all of that. And they don't have much more on it in terms of like screenshots, the way how the games are running, anything to kind of put any of your buyers at ease. Like, look, I gave them $250. That was the pre-order price just to get the system. And because good and well with their products, they typically like to sell out. And then, if you happen to miss the first boat, tough luck, unless you're going to buy it from a scalper or something like that. And that wasn't my plan. I'm like, look here, I needed a good system to play my N64 game, my physical N64 games on a good system that allows me to play it on my HD TVs, because I can't really do that with my N64 as it is now. I have to be playing on a CRT, but I want to play on a better experience than that, outside of me just playing those games on NSO on Switch 2 or whatever, or Switch. I'm like, come on, like we got to do better than this, Analog 3D. Like I say Analog 3D, Analog. We got to do better. Like, y'all's business model should be way better than this, considering the quality of your products that you put out. Though, I really hoping and crossing my fingers that this console does not get delayed, not one more time, and I'm gonna about have it with y'all. I'm just saying though, so I'm gonna hold y'all to it. Y'all better hold y'all's word to it in August. And apparently they said, hey, they're looking forward to actually showing us the system and saying something about some previews and all of that stuff. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I was like, you really could show this thing right now if you wanted to. Because the fact you're only pushing it back a month, these systems are done. They're basically ready to go. Some unfortunate things might be happening that we just probably will never know the full story of. I would love to interview or just hear about from one of the people that actually work at this company what's truly been the holdup, because there's something else that they're not telling us about this whole entire system, though. And I don't know, it's just chapping my hive, though. Anyway, though, I digress. Next month, which that means 2 episodes from now, 2 episodes of the podcast, roughly, as long as we stay on track, I should be saying some good things about this system, or hopefully good things, or the fact that it's on its way to where I'm at right now. I'm holding y'all to Analog. Don't go and mess this freaking thing up. All right, Steven, was there anything you were gonna say? I highly doubt it though, but
I just think it's kind of annoying that they announce the system when it's basic. Like, they announce it very, very early into production half the time.
I mean,
so really the issue is really that they announce it before having like a clear plan, so they constantly keep delaying instead of just giving a delayed date back then.
yeah, because I think originally when they took the pre-orders and our money and all of that, that was like fall of 2024. And they said originally when they took our money, they were like, hey, this is supposed to come out in the first quarter of 2025. And that would be March at the latest. So if it was like September, I'm just guesstimating because it was sometime in the fall time. Let's say worst case scenario, September to March at the latest. That would be October, November, like half a year is what they were shooting for. Half a year to 3 months, which is kind of crazy thinking about 3 months, but half a year at worst is what they were kind of originally thinking or expecting. And now we're almost going to be, when it's all said and done, we're getting close. If it drops late August, a whole entire calendar year, almost 12 months would have passed, and I'm like, goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I ain't got.
It's kind of annoying. I understand where you're coming from, honestly. Either way, I'm glad it's finally coming, and hopefully they deliver a good product for the for the wait that you've had to endure. It better be good.
Yeah, because I mean, it was kind of a race against time between this and that. What was it? The thing I ordered from Limited Run for Persona 4 Golden, and that actually finally showed up a couple months ago, I think. Yeah, a couple months, I think, at this point though. So now this is the last thing I ordered from like ancient long ago. Now I'm still waiting on. But yeah, fingers crossed it comes out in August, because if they delay this thing one more time, so help me, I'm gonna go over there and shake somebody. All right. Anyway, though, I digress. All right. Now let's move on to some little bit more positive stuff though, because now we're gonna talk about Sony here real quick, because they managed to have that Ghost of Yotei state of play, and man, the game looks really good. I wasn't really expecting it to be bad or nothing crazy or nothing super far off from what we managed to get originally with Ghost of Tsushima. Back when that released on the PS4, or I played it on the PS5 with the director's cut or whatever, though. So I'm like, hey, I'm really looking forward to this game, though. Obviously, they do have a limited edition of the game itself, which I was like, dang it, I really want to have the game physically. So I'm like, I'm just gonna skip out on it. That's a lot of money. I need to start saving up a little bit more though. But they also managed to showcase off two shiny new things. They got some interesting little plate covers, as well as some interesting looking DualSense controllers. And I told myself, I was like, look here, I don't really need to have another DualSense controller. At this point in the game, I have the basic white one that came with the console. I had the Starlight blue one when they were introducing the color waves, because I like the color blue. Got to rep my Megazardian colors and stuff like that. So that was cool. And then they showed the Spider-Man 2 and I was like, all right, that's Spider-Man. I gotta get that, right? Then they showed the Astrobot and I was like, okay, Astrobot's like one of their other good IPs. I'll go ahead and bite on this. The only other thing I said that could get me to buy another DualSense if they do something with the Ghost series. And of course, they managed to bring out some Ghost Yotei DualSense controllers. One that's like a gold edition with some illustrated art, and one that's a black one. And I was like, So I was like, okay, I can't really afford to get. I could get both, but no, I'm putting my foot down. I'm only gonna get one or the other in terms of the colorways, and I'm like, I think I'm going with gold. That gold one is kind of speaking to me a little bit more, because I mean, you got a lot of black with a lot of different controllers or whatever, but you don't have a lot of stuff that has that kind of goldish aspect going on with it. So I was like, I'm like, you know what, I'm going with the gold, and it's kind of almost white and gold, but it's more like a cream white. Cause like you can see like where the knobs and stuff are at, where the buttons and the PlayStation logo, that's a pure white. And you look at the white that's slightly above it, I think it's more like a creamish white with the gold. I was like, you know what, that kind of pops. So that's the one I'm gonna be shooting to get. And I think they said pre-orders for that. Well, all that stuff is gonna release on I think it's October 2nd, if I got the dates right. I have to go back and look at it though. But basically, early October is when all of this stuff is dropping to coincide with the game though. They hadn't announced when pre-orders for this stuff will go live. If you're interested in getting this stuff, you have to, if you want the black edition one, you had to get it through the PlayStation Store itself, because they're not giving that to retailers. The gold edition versions with the plates or really like the controller, that's gonna go to all the retailers though, so I can try to put my hat in the ring for Best Buy on that one. That's my plan for it though. I think Mario, our good friend, he likes the black one, so he might be going for that one. So, people I know, we might be able to get both sides of it. I kind of hate how the plates, they're the new edition ones, Steven. So it's like you have to have that newer edition of the PS5 with the diskless, the disc or the detachable disc drive. And I had the base unit PS5, so I can't even get the plates. I could get the plates, but I wouldn't be able to equip them or nothing like that. So I'm like, tough luck, I guess. So yeah, I'll just go for the DualSense controller. And everything else they showed off in that state of play, I thoroughly like and enjoy. I like the fact that you have to go out and about and meet up with certain people when you want to go to certain vendors to buy up, stock up on certain stuff. The fact that you can kind of go anywhere in the open world and they come to you when you camp at night, it's actually pretty good, because I hate being out in the middle of nowhere in Tsushima, and then it's like, crap, I need to go buy some stuff. You lose where you were currently at, you warp to where you're somewhere else, and then now you have to warp kind of close to the proximity where you left off at, and then travel back there to kind of pick up right where you left off. But with this new format of them coming to you, you don't have to ever kind of lose your progression with wherever you happen to be exploring and stuff like that. And I know you're trying to hunt down all these different leaders. It's kind of like a path of like almost revenge. Like, that theme is
Like
still
Last of Us 2.
yeah. So the revenge is still occurring, kind of like how we had the revenge art that we had with Jim whenever with the original Ghost of Tsushima and stuff though. So if you really like that game, you're probably really gonna like this one. So yeah, that's the other second game to coincide with Donkey Kong Bonanza as like my two front runners of most highly anticipated games of this year for me personally though. But I'm really looking forward to this. I really want to get my hands on that controller. It looks really nice. And yeah, overall, very solid state of play. Nothing crazy, but just really good.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch it, and I'm not really that interested in this game, but I'm glad to hear that. From what it seems like, people are excited. People like what they're doing with it. I know Sucker Punch, the people that worked on it, worked on Sly Cooper in the past.
No, yeah.
So like they are talented devs. I'm glad that they're releasing a new game, and it seems like a lot of people are excited. It's just not my type of game,
You
really.
still need to finish Ghost of Tsushima. You had that game in your possession. If you go through and play through that game,
Yeah,
I kid you not, you
I
would probably be, if you love that game, then you would be excited for this one, though. But I got to get you to
yeah
play that other
I
one.
I own it. I do own it. You're right.
Man, I'm telling
I'll
you, like
eventually
that's
play
one of the
it. I
few good.
promise.
If someone were to pick up a PS5 and they say, "What would you recommend playing?" Some people might say God of War. Some people might say Horizon. I say forget them games. I say, look here, play yourself some. Obviously, whatever you want, the Spider-Man remaster or Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. I will recommend those games. I'll also recommend Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart because I actually thoroughly like that game. That's good. I also would recommend Astro Bot along with Playroom. Those are good games. And then I would say Ghost of Tsushima / Ghost of Yotei. Like I think that's some of the best PlayStation experiences that you're probably gonna get on this console. And it's nothing crazy or super far out there from anything that like Nintendo has put up in there. Like if you're a Nintendo only person and you're also picking up a PS5 or whatever, though, it's not too far off the realm of stuff that you're kind of familiar with. So yeah, so I'm just thoroughly surprised that you still had not opened up Tsushima just yet.
I'll eventually get to it.
Mm. But anyway, though, that's all I got to say up on that game, though. Next time, I guess we'll give an update on that. Is either after I manage to successfully get my pre-order in, or the game comes out in October. It'll be one or the other, though. But, all right, that's gonna be it in terms of PlayStation stuff. The rest of the topics for the rest of the show is all gonna be centered around Nintendo, though. So now we gotta go back on the negative side of things, though, because apparently, Nintendo Switch game vouchers, they're actually coming to a close. So apparently they're going to be discontinued from sale starting January 30th of 2026. And we know these vouchers, when you buy them, they're usually good for 12 months. So if you were to buy some on that very last day, on that January 30th, then the last time you could actually use them will be January 30th of 2027. And after that day, so February 2027 onward, the game vouchers will no longer be a thing whatsoever. And it's kind of unfortunate because I guess if you're like a really heavy digital person or somebody that likes playing their games digitally, or you just took advantage of this because it's like, hey, I just want to buy some
Well,
cheaper games because normally these Nintendo games they MSRP for $60, but when you buy these vouchers for two sets of vouchers, they bundle them together. You're paying $100, so effectively you're getting two $60 games for $50 a pop, essentially. So it saves you a little bit of money. And the fact
my
they're taking that
issue.
away is just kind of dang.
Well, yeah. First, if you were a digital buyer, you could actually use these as a really cheap way to get a Switch 2 edition.
Yeah,
Because think about it. Think about it like this, Zard. If you buy Metroid Prime 4 on Switch 2, not only like you're only getting the Switch 2 edition. Like if you get the digital, I mean. If you get the physical of the Switch 2 edition, I think it also works on Switch 1. But either way, if you get a digital Switch 2 edition, that's only on Switch 2. If you get a digital Switch 1 edition, you could use it on both. And then you can upgrade it on Switch 2. So you can play it on Switch 1 and then play the upgraded one on Switch 2 with the small fee. But you could actually get the Switch 2 edition for cheaper by doing game vouchers. So you would get Metroid Prime 4 and Legends ZA. You would get both of them as part of the game voucher program for $100, and then spend $10 to upgrade each one, and you'd be getting it for 120 instead of 140.
Mm-hmm. Which I think a
So
lot
that
of
would be
people
getting you
might
a
be.
regular 60.
Yeah, because I think people might be thinking about using. I think there's like 4 more games that have Switch One
Oh
edition
yeah,
of games where you can
Tears
actually,
of the Kingdom.
yeah,
Tears of the
um,
Kingdom is a really good deal because that's going. You get that because think about it. You use that for Tears of the Kingdom, a $70 game becomes $50, and an $80, but technically $80 game is becoming $60. If you own expansion pack already, you don't even have to buy Tears of the Kingdom's upgrade.
yeah.
So you're getting $30 off Tears of the Kingdom if you get it as part of the voucher program.
Yeah, because I think most people they probably thinking, the last few times that most people might be buying these game vouchers for like somewhat newer games will be like
Oh,
you could use it for Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA. So like what you were saying earlier, someone could buy the game vouchers and buy that for the Switch 1 editions of those games. So instead of 60 a pop, they're 50 a pop. And then you pay the upgrade fee for it for the Switch 2. So now you're paying $60 for each one of those games when normally it would have cost you 70. And I feel like for that reason alone, that might be some of the reasons why Nintendo might be getting rid of the vouchers, though. But those might be the last couple of games that we might know
oh
of that
yeah.
might have a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 edition of the games. I mean, granted, yes, we do know about a couple games that are coming out in 2026 with the Rhythm Heaven game and the Tamagotchi Life, but looking at those games, I don't know if they'll do a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 edition of those games,
Well,
or they'll just say, hey,
Zard,
that's just Switch 1 games. Who knows?
if you want me to be completely honest, I don't think either of those games are going to be full priced anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
No,
they
no,
are
no,
not
no,
going to
no,
charge
no.
$60 for Rhythm Heaven. I think if
Not
you
for
want
Rhythm
me to,
Heaven.
if you want me to be completely honest, they're probably discontinuing this because they probably don't have any more full price Switch One games on the docket. The only
Yeah.
game that I can think of would be that Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War remake, but that might have just moved over to exclusively Switch 2 at
I
this
think
rate.
I think it is exclusively Switch 2. Like they might have pulled like what they did with Mario Kart World and
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 Donkey
Donkey
Kong.
Kong Bonanza, where they originally were planning to be Switch 1 games, and then partway through development, they just decided, hey, we're just moving to the Switch 2. I'm fully thinking that
Probably is a better choice.
genealogy of that Holy Wars
Probably
is going to be a Switch 2 game. And hey, if it
probably a better
proves the
choice for the
performance
Halo
and
tech
stuff,
demo.
yeah. Because I mean, Engage for as divisive as I feel up on that game, the game looks and runs incredibly well. So I can only imagine how well it could be with that remake on the Switch 2. So I'm like, hey, if it just makes it that much better, I'm like, hey, I'm okay with it. Just move it over to Switch 2 and just announce that thing at what will
Yeah,
probably
but
be the next upcoming direct.
besides that though, I'm kind of annoyed that they're getting rid of this because for a lot of people, that some people did not get a Switch 2 or did not get a Switch 1. For a decent amount of people, Switch 2 is their first experience with all of these Switch games.
Which honestly, they could save quite a bit of money with the whole voucher program and then also the gold coins, which they already took that away from us. So I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
like,
but
yeah,
that's what I just think for people that were playing games like Mario Odyssey for the first time on Switch 2, getting rid of like an easy way for them to save money was just weird to me. Because especially because these games are, Mario Odyssey's a 7-year-old, 8-year-old game now almost. And for an 8-year-old game, I expect at least some kind of price drop, and the game vouchers were the closest thing to that. I don't
yeah,
know. Nintendo definitely is a little bit stingy with giving out deals to their customers. The only reason they get away with it is because people like their games.
Yeah.
They do give a quality product. Like, Mario Odyssey is a $60 worth game. Donkey Kong Bonanza, if you ask me, feels like a game worth $70.
Oh no, that game is
This and that.
$70 as a fact. I don't care what your mama says. No.
Mario Kart, I'm still iffy on. Mario Kart being 80, no, I don't fucking agree with that to this day. Should have been 60, maybe should have been
I can
70,
see it
should
being
not have been
70,
80.
but 80 okay. But anyway
80's
though.
much. Either way, though, either way, like, this is just annoying for the consumer. And I hope they realize that they need to put in some kind of program for Switch 2 games. Like just like the vouchers. Maybe they should just make it Nintendo Switch 2 game vouchers. Get Mario Kart and get DK Bonanza. Maybe make it 130.
130.
So you're getting
Oh,
each game for 65.
65. Cut you a little bit of a
Which would
bone.
that yeah, it would be a deal.
Hmm. Oh,
Or
actually,
maybe
or
130.
definitely with Mario Kart World if you package that one in because that's
Yeah.
technically $80.
Well, that's what
So,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah, but like I don't know, we'll see because a lot. Let's be honest, the Mario Kart bundle is definitely the most popular bundle right now, and I guarantee when the holidays come, they're gonna release a new bundle with Mario Kart in it plus NSO.
Hmm. No, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. But I think outside of that, there's not too much more we can say on the game vouchers thing. So, you know, for so if you're thinking about good games to use it for or any last second, pickups for it though, I'm probably gonna get one more set of these vouchers because it dawned on me, Steven. I was like, wait a minute. I don't own what is it, Mario Tennis Aces. Unless they announce like a brand new tennis game, which is probably going to happen fairly soon for Switch 2. I kind of wanted to go back and get that game, but then
I like
also,
Tennis
but
Aces,
yeah,
but like no one's gonna be playing it.
I don't know. We'll see though. But then there's that, and then also Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, because I was like, I would like to have that on Switch or slash Switch 2 now, but I didn't want to pay a full 60 for it though. But with the vouchers, that will cut it down to 50ish. So I'm
If
like,
you ask me, Zard, in a couple years' time, you'll get a good sale on it. Like a couple years' time, you'll probably be able to find it for as low as like 35. I would just wait. Because let's be honest, is that really the type of game you're gonna play right away?
I mean, if I get it for the spooky season, maybe. It just depends. Well, no, I say spooky season. I think there's a crap ton of games that's also coming out in the month of October, along with Ghost of Yotei, where I'm like, I wouldn't even have time to sit down and play it during the spooky season anyway, though. So I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
outside of that, I think that's all we got to report on with those Nintendo game vouchers ending. Hopefully, Nintendo has some kind of alternative for this mess, though. We really need it. But I don't know. Dang it, this kind of sucks. All right, well let's flip it. Talk about something good with associated with NSO because man oh man, Nintendo managed to drop out the newest game to the slate of GameCube games for NSO if you happen to have a Nintendo Switch 2. That being Super Mario Strikers. And man oh man, that's a freaking phenomenal game right there if I do say so myself though.
It's
Oh
it's
man,
fun.
it's
It's
fun.
fun. We have a
We
we
have
have
an
an
episode.
NSO versus
Yeah,
coming.
we got an episode cooking, and I'm like,
Yeah, spoilers. I get a little bit mad at it.
oh goodness. Oh no, we had a
But
good time
all
playing
fun.
that.
It was fun. I was having fun playing the game, but I was just getting a little too into it because you know I have fun with those. Well, I have a lot of fun when it comes to the Mario sports games, especially.
Yeah, because I mean, the GameCube had a lot of great Mario sports games. Like between Mario Strikers was good, the tennis one that was on there as well. That one's really good. And then also you had Mario Baseball on the GameCube as well. So all three of those were knockouts out of the park. I can't remember, Steven. Was there a golf game? I don't think there was a golf game on the GameCube, was there? There was one on the 64, but I don't know if there was one on the GameCube.
Toadstool Tour,
Oh, was there?
yes.
Mm. That's weird because out of all my GameCube hunting, I saw all three of those sports games. I picked up Strikers. I picked up the tennis one, and I picked up baseball. But I have not seen anywhere about anybody recommending or saying you got to pick up the golf one on GameCube. So that's a little odd, but whatever.
You say that. I've heard it. I owned it. It's a great game.
Mm, all right, we'll see if they put it out on NSO. Then I'll mess around with it though. But that wouldn't be one out of all the other three that I just mentioned. I will run out and try to add that to my collection though. But I don't know. But anyway though, if you happen to have NSO expansion pack, and obviously you have to have a Switch 2 as well. Put some time up in here though, because man, oh man, this along with I guess F-Zero GX are like the two flagship that you'll play with other people though. Man, these games are absolutely hectic fun, and great. I don't know
Oh
what they
yeah.
will. I don't know what they will put on their next because we have like a whole slew of
It
games
better be
that they put.
Sunshine, because Sunshine is like in.
No, we
in
can't have that many Mario games added back to back.
what do
Shoot,
you
give me
mean?
Path of
It is the
Radiance.
main doing no.
Give me Path of Radiance
It
because
is the
I need to actually
main.
sit down and beat that game. I got fairly deep up in there, but with save
I
states
like
that would be great.
I like how you act like there's a bunch of Mario games on there. This Mario Strikers is the first Mario game on the GameCube service, and even then, that's not even the main one. We still
Okay.
don't, Luigi's Mansion would be like the one I think of when I think Mario GameCube game. But right behind that would be Strikers.
I
Sorry,
mean, the
Sunshine.
reason why I say we don't need Sunshine is because technically Sunshine is somewhat playable. I say somewhat because you can't buy it
You
if
don't
it's
well, you
if
you
if
have
you're not
bias
a.
against Sunshine, but I don't.
I don't care though. Anyway, though, you can play Sunshine in some kind of way if you really wanted to right now on that Switch 2 if you wanted to.
Well,
But
yeah,
you
but
can't
like
do that with Path of Radiance. And that game is stupidly expensive on the GameCube, mind you, for those that hadn't experienced a great game like that. I'm just saying. Anyway, though, we can go on and on about GameCube. I love GameCube games though. But anyway, though, that thought aside, Super Mario Strikers is out. Looking forward to whatever they're having to be putting out next. All right, now we got to give a little bit of an update for Drag X Drive because a few little things, information tidbits that managed to drop out for this game. We did manage to get an actual release date for the game itself. It's supposed to be coming out in the month of August. I'm trying to figure out exactly what day that was because I'm trying to remember off the
August like 16th, I think. I think it's the
something.
week, whatever. It's the week before Kirby comes out.
Yeah, something like that. So it's like, okay, so that's really cool. We finally get a release date for it though, and also the fact that it's only going to cost $20 for us to buy it. So it's a budget game at
No,
that.
I'm surprised by that, but it also kind of makes me worried that the game's just not going to be that good. We'll see. We will find out. We will find out. But I am glad that if it is a bad game, they're not overcharging for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Because come
it
on,
can't. It can't.
I know Nintendo. They would have definitely, if possible, charged as much for this game as any other game.
It's August
Like,
14th. August 14th.
yeah, they charged fucking 1-2 Switch. They charge $50, so their standards for prices aren't really that high.
Yeah. But yeah, so it can't be that bad with it being a $20 game. So I feel like this is going to probably be like the major front runner in terms of showing off the mouse mode. Like this is
Oh
going to
yeah,
be the game that actually gets me to use the mouse features a whole lot more. It was between this
and
and what would have been Metroid Prime 4.
and it's not confirmed yet, but the fact they're doing a play test for this, fact this is like a smaller game and it's a little bit of a gimmicky game with the Joy Cons, makes me think that the team that developed Arms kind of branched off and did this.
You know
We're
what?
gonna find out.
It could be. Yeah,
Because
and then
I know that the people that do Arms also do Mario Kart, but they were doing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as they were doing Arms, so
yeah.
they definitely can do two projects at once, especially if this one, if the little wheelchair game is a smaller game, it's definitely possible. Hey, I think it will be a fun little distraction, and they're doing the global test thing,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're doing that little global testing because
I just feel like for a $20 game, they've never done that for like a cheap game before. It really does make me think. You want to know what it makes me think? It makes me think that this game was originally gonna be a full price game, and then they were like, "Wait, we can't do that."
Oh, maybe. But
They,
yeah,
it, they would, yeah, it was not gonna do well if they did that.
yeah. And I like how you said the little playtest thing though. So the dates they confirmed when that's gonna happen is gonna be on August the 9th and August the 10th. And it's only available for Nintendo Switch Online members. So if you're not an NSO member, you're not gonna have access to playing this
But
stuff.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so you got like August 9th, and these are all based on Pacific time zones or whatever. 3 in the morning to 7 in the morning. And then also later on in that day on the 9th, 5 o'clock in the evening to 9 o'clock at night. And then on August the 10th, you have from 9 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon.
I
So
hate those times. I
so
hate
looking
all of
at
those
all those
times.
times, the only times that actually make sense is the August 9th. That's the later in the evening, like after you get off of work. So for me, that would have been like from 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night. Which for you, Steven, that would have been like 8 o'clock to midnight. That would be the time that we will probably both be playing at the same time. And that's probably the only
Probably.
event I'll probably be able to make. And I think on August the 9th, I think that's a Saturday. Gotta pull up my little calendar here. I think it's a Saturday. Yeah, that's a Saturday. So yeah, so yeah, 2 sessions for Saturday, 1 session for Sunday. I kind of wish it was just open for a full 36 hours or something. Just hop in, hop out, whatever. But I
Like that
get
would
it.
be nice, but
They're trying to
well, that
do
I don't know.
focused testing, I guess, just to
Yeah,
see how many people get
they're trying to
online.
do focus testing, and if they kept it open for like a full 36 hours, I guarantee, depending on the time of day you do it, you're not gonna find anybody.
Or you will, it just
Because come
might
on,
take a
this
little
is a
longer. Yeah.
I don't know. This is a $20 game, and it's heavily reliant on a gimmick. Not a lot of people are gonna be playing this.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. It's got online though. I think it's gonna be a fun game. I just also don't really think it's gonna be a game I play for more than 5 hours.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I can see myself playing, getting somewhat okay with the CPUs or whatever, though. But then
But
after
we
you,
don't even know
well,
if it has CPUs. We know
it,
nothing about this
well,
game.
hmm,
Here's the things are. I genuinely think in the trailer. It looks so gray and dull. Like it has hardly any color. You have hardly any like outfits or customization for your wheelchair guys. We only seen one stadium to fight, like to play in. I genuinely think this game's gonna be like the definition of like a tech demo,
hmm,
and
yeah,
it's gonna have very basic either might not even have CPU battles, might just have single player practice and then online.
okay, yeah. Because I mean, if it were like that, then this probably after I'm done with practicing or whatever, this probably be a game that I'll pretty much exclusively play online for the most
Oh
part, though,
yeah,
and mostly probably with you because I think you're probably the only other one out of our friend group that will probably pick up this game.
I think Yoshi might be getting it. I don't know.
Hmm. But
I
yeah,
think the
I gotta get
concept of
some.
wheelchair basketball
Yeah,
is
I gotta
fun.
get something. Well, I do like the fact that it's basketball. Shoot, honestly, now that I'm thinking about basketball, dog, this might have been like the first basketball related game I bought in like who knows how long. Like, oh shoot. Um, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this, especially now that it's just a budget title. $20 ain't gonna break the bank, so I'm looking forward to this one though. So I'll try out that demo, see what it's all about, and we'll kind of go from there. So not too bad, not too bad. All right. Next up, we got one of the last couple of things we got to go through and talk about. We have some updates on some Switch 2 sales in terms of like the numbers that is going on right now. So apparently, and there's also one other thing I'm gonna loop up in here as well though. But we got updated specs on how well the Switch 2 has managed to sell. So apparently, it's currently sitting at 5 million sold units that all happened and transpired within 26 days.
And this is unconfirmed technically right now, right?
No, that's actually where's my
I
little
don't
thing?
think Nintendo themselves officially said this, but like if we add up some of the numbers that have been officially released, it's close to that, right?
Oh, base. Oh no, okay. I pulled up the tweet. No, I got that from Stealth. Switch 2 sold 5 million units in 26 days. Nintendo accidentally leaked this information.
Yeah, well,
America's so it was so not officially told, but it's unofficially official. As weirdly as that sounds.
it could be inaccurate, which is maybe why they deleted it. We don't know yet. We'll find out.
But apparently they're saying roughly 1.8 was from the U.S. or the Americas. That technically includes Canada or whatever, or I guess the Latin America places too. Anyway, 1.8. Japan's at 1.47. Europe is at 1.18. And other places around the world is like 550,000 units. So
Well, we know for a fact Japan already passed 1.5 million.
yeah, if you go through and add up all of the Famitsu, or I say Famitsu, all of the like they report on their sales from like month to month and all
I
of
think
that
it is. I
stuff.
think it is Famitsu that does it. But yeah.
But yeah, not surprising. But honestly, that's a pretty good start because like what's 5 million out of like 150? What is that
I don't know,
percentage
like
wise?
um,
I think that's like
like
3%.
5.
3%. It's like
No,
it's
well,
3.33%.
something like, I don't know. That's still a decent percentage.
At least all in 1 month. Yeah.
3% is not a bad percentage, though.
Yeah. But yeah,
I don't
so
know. That means if you have like a crowd of people, a crowd of 50 people, at least 2 of them probably will have a Switch too.
yeah. And they probably already had a Switch one to start off with, or
Yeah,
you'll get a
let's be
few
honest,
people. You'll get a few people that probably didn't have a Switch, but most of
and
these people that got them now probably already had a Switch one.
we don't even know what these numbers are gonna look like after Donkey Kong's added into that, because that's definitely
Oh,
this
that's a
game is
system
definitely
seller.
the first.
Yeah,
Well, it's definitely the biggest single player game. It's got the system's got going for it right now.
yeah. So yeah, so just some minor updates on some sale numbers, but I think was it? I think we're supposed to have like an actual reportings at
Probably at
the
the end of this
end
month.
at the end of this month. Yeah, at the end of this month there technically would be one, which then you got to delay it by like a few weeks, and then they actually give us the numbers and stuff. I think in what would be August. So not too much longer. We got to wait, and then we'll probably get actual confirmed sales numbers for Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and new official numbers for the actual Switch 2 itself. So we'll look forward to that. Probably the next
I gotcha.
2 episodes or so, and we'll probably be able to go over those official numbers at that point, though. But yeah, so really good stuff right there. Really good stuff. All right. So now we get to swing it over to the very last little bit of stuff that we want to go through and talk about for tonight. That being the Pokemon Presents presentation that's supposed to be airing literally in a couple of days from now, Tuesday morning. I don't even know what time it is. This is Tuesday morning, Steven.
The
Isn't
regular
it
time, I
that
think the
stupid
9 o'clock.
early in the morning? 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock
Well,
your time?
8 o'clock for you. It
Eight
would be
o'clock
8
for me.
a.m. for you, I think.
Yeah, regardless, I'm at work, so I will have to see it during one of my breaks. Okay. Um. No. So okay. So we know that presentation is coming out in the next 2 days, and let's go ahead and address the elephants in the room. I can tell y'all how this thing starts off and get close to how it ends. Obviously, we're gonna start off. They're gonna talk about the Nintendo, or not Nintendo, the Pokemon history and stuff like that. They're probably
They always
missing.
do
Yeah,
that.
they always do that. They'll probably talk about something with Pokemon Worlds, like like their competitions and stuff. They'll briefly talk about that. That's how they start off the little show. Then they'll go into all their mobile games. We're talking about everything from Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Cafe Mix, Pokemon Go. Now you got like the new stuff with TCG Pocket and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They'll talk about every one of those. Pokemon Master Sex, like they'll talk about all of those different
Pokemon
games.
Master Sex.
Hey, that's what the game is.
It is.
Yeah, so they'll talk about all of those different games and give you quick little updates on that. Then they'll go over and talk about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. They'll give you some kind of random old demo
Events.
event thing that they're tying into the thing. It'll be all of those back to back to back to back, in almost in 100% sequence like that. Then you'll finally get to the new stuff with Pokemon Legends ZA, and we'll finally get to see some last.
Megas. Give me
They'll
new Megas.
at least show us 2 new megas, at least 2. is what I'm banking on. At least two, maybe not more than that, but I'm thinking at a minimum they'll show us two brand new ones and something else about the game that we just don't know about. They'll remind us about the release date coming out. They'll say something about, hey, the Switch and the Switch 2 versions, this is what they kind of look like. They'll kind of try to push more people to get the Switch 2 version. That be it. And I honestly think that's all that's going to be in this Pokemon Presents. I'm not predicting anything else. Every time we predict stuff, we always say, hey, they might be able to showcase off.
Well, I
They'll
think we're
say
gonna
like what
see.
Pokemon games added to NSO with like red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal. We always say that, miss. I am not
Well,
predicting that. Not at
I
all.
think I think Legends ZA is gonna get some more details. For example, that we know for a fact that like the game is about going from eight. Was it the rank you start at rank A and you gotta get to rank Z? It was one of something like that.
That
Where
or
you
the other
start
way
at rank
around.
you start at rank Z and you get to rank A. I think there's gonna be more to this game than that. Like I think there's gonna be some more returning characters from previous Pokemon games that we don't know about. Because remember, Legends Arceus had some characters from throughout the entire series.
Yeah,
You
no,
had
they had
that
some
one
Gen
train.
5
You
people
had
up in
that.
there. Yeah.
You had that one train conductor guy from Gen 5 making an appearance. You had some ancestors of characters we know from Gen 5, characters we know from Gen 4. Obviously, tons of fan service there. Everything with Evolo, the main guy, and his boss theme.
Yeah.
Legends Arceus was a huge love letter to Gen 4 and all that. Which, by the way, I think they're gonna reveal a Legends Arceus, either an update or a Switch 2 edition during this.
That's
Just,
bold that you
just
said that.
yeah, I do think so because I think it's just gonna be. I think just an update. It'll be like Scarlet and Violet's 60 FPS update, just to prime it,
Mm,
keep it like up to standard with Legends ZA going into the Switch 2 generation.
I got
Because
you.
because think about it, like these Legends games, they're spin-offs. You don't have to play them in order. Some people are gonna play ZA and then they're gonna be like, damn, I want to go try out Legends Arceus. And it's gonna run like shit on Switch 2. They don't want that. No, yeah, they do not want that. They
Hey,
want
I'm
an
telling you,
update or
that's
something.
definitely one of the better Pokemon games out there, though. I mean, if you,
Yeah, I love Legends Arceus. Give me 60 FPS, make it better. I would love that. I would love that so much if they did that. But besides the point, I think that after they show Legends CA, because come on, this is the third time they're showing this damn game. I don't think the showcase ends there. I think even if it's just the logos and nothing else, I think we're gonna get Gen 10 revealed.
heck no,
Yeah.
don't go up
Yes.
in my show
Yes, they
and give
will.
these people that kind of
Yes, they
hope.
will. No.
Heck
Yes,
no,
no.
no,
Come on.
no,
No,
no, no,
Zard.
no.
Zard,
You got
look
a
at me.
big Pokemon
Oh, no, look at me.
anniversary
Listen
coming
to
up
me.
next year.
Oh yeah,
They
it
those
will release next year.
they
It
will
will release
save
next
that
year.
for
No.
the traditional February 27th presentation where they do that Pokemon Presents on that day. They will save that announcement for that and build it up and make it a big old thing throughout
Here's
that
what
whole year
no, because
next year. There's no way they're announcing Gen 10 that
okay,
early and the cut and undermine Legend ZA. To that fact of
it's
the
not gonna
matter, I said
undermine it's
I wasn't gonna mention this though, but you're more likely gonna have a red, blue, yellow, gold, silver crystal pop up versus what you just said
right.
right there.
I don't think so. You want me to explain why I think you're wrong?
You can try, but they ain't none.
Okay. So when 2018 Nintendo did their E3 showcase, or it was either 2018 or 2017, we had Let's Go already revealed and on the way, and they revealed in one of the Nintendo E3 directs. They said, and they didn't. We knew nothing about Sword and Shield yet, but they told us that they were developing a new mainline Pokemon game exclusively for Nintendo Switch, and they showed us nothing. They just wanted to announce it to get faith in the Pokemon brand on Switch. And then a couple years later, they showed us Sword and Shield after Let's Go came out and had its whole hype cycle. I think they're going to do the same thing again. I think they're going to end this showcase and they're just going to announce Gen 10. They're going to say they're maybe Mr. Pokemon's going to come up on screen. We have an exciting announcement for you. We are currently working on the next generation of Pokemon mainline Pokemon games coming exclusively, and they're going to stress that coming exclusively to Nintendo Switch 2 systems. We hope you enjoy this and that. We hope to share more details at a later date. So please stay tuned. for our Pokemon presents on this date for more details or this or that. Like they'll just say that please stay tuned for more details at a later date. And
If
we
they
hope you
said it
legit say.
just like the way how you mention it, they don't give you a logo, don't give you anything, but it's the dude that
Well, that's what they would
says
do.
all the word salad for that mess, then I guess it can be somewhat
Just think
likely.
about it. Think
But
about
that
it.
would
There
be
are
the
people
biggest.
there.
That would be the most you'll get out of this.
Yeah, but that will at least give the consumer knowledge that Pokemon will be coming to Switch too. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people will buy a Switch 2 just to play that exclusive Pokemon game. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah.
Pokemon's a fucking gangbusters. Pokemon is a system seller in its like most pure form. People bought Switches for Let's Go. People bought Switches for Sword and Shield. No one bought Switches for BDSP, but they definitely bought Switches for Scarlet and Violet. Switch Lights as well. Switch Lite is a huge thing for why Pokemon did so well, which maybe they'll do a Switch 2 Lite around the time that this next Pokemon game comes out. That's a stretch. I think we are getting a new game revealed. Whether or not it's a Let's Go Johto, whether or not it's something new entirely, or whether or not it's Gen 10. I think they're going to tell us that they're working on a Pokemon game exclusively for Nintendo Switch 2 family systems. And then I think this is my wild card prediction. I think we will get about 10 seconds of footage just to show us what this
Oh
system is capable
heck
of.
no! You giving these people on my show too much hope.
We will get 10 seconds of footage. It will show a familiar Pokemon that we all know, probably like a Pikachu fighting a Charizard or something along those lines. It will be familiar Pokemon fighting, and in the distance or something along those lines, we will see like a new Pokemon. Just enough to keep people hooked and speculating for the wait. Because let's be honest, they're probably gonna be waiting until next February when that presents comes for more details. Legend ZA is enough to hold off Pokemon fans for a while, but you gotta give them something to chew on after Legend ZA releases, which is where this comes into effect. That's my big
But
prediction for it,
but
really.
I'm gonna counter your prediction with another one of my own. I think you already forgot about the other game that they announced in the last Pokemon Presents.
Champions, I
Yeah,
know, I know,
I,
but that's not a
you're more,
mainline
I
game.
know it's not, I
And
know it's not mainline, but I'm more likely to see that happen versus this Gen 10
if
talk
you,
right now.
yeah, but at the same time, Champions is probably like a game that they'll show off at the beginning of this. They're gonna start with Champions. They're gonna do the spin-offs, and then they're gonna do ZA, or they're gonna start with ZA and go the other way around. Listen, everyone's hyping up Champions. Champions, they already confirmed is gonna be on mobile as well. It is a mobile game that they're bringing to console, not the other way around. You know what I mean?
Mm, yeah, I
Let's
mean,
be honest. This is a Pokemon Quest situation. This is a game that they designed for mobile that they're just also conveniently bringing it to Switch.
or I
People
mean,
are over
it could be
people are
it could be hand in hand because I mean, there's a lot of games
maybe
nowadays. Like for example, dog, that was the other game I didn't mention. Persona 5X. That was another game I was playing recently, right before Donkey Kong Bonanza came out.
yeah.
But no, you'll have games like that where it's like they're releasing on PC and on mobile. They were optimized probably primarily on PC, but they made it also work on mobile as well.
Yeah,
And
I just think
you can have the experience on one or the other. I think the same thing was probably going into mind with Pokemon Champions. Like it was in tandem with both. Like same thing with
yeah, I
Pokemon
just
Unite.
this is the one kind of negative prediction I'll give. I think Pokemon Champions is gonna end up looking a lot worse than people are expecting. I think it's gonna kind of look cheap. It's not really. It's gonna be like pretty bare bones. It's gonna have just it's gonna have regular Pokemon combat, and it's gonna have transferring Pokemon from home.
No, because Pokemon
I don't.
Champions, I hope it's not cheap because that's their end
I
all
think
be all
so.
solution for them to say, hey, look, we got this one game out here where everything you were able to do in the past, Mega Evolutions, your Z
Yeah, but
moves,
that's the
your
problem.
Dynamaxing and your G
I think
Maxing.
I
Like
think that's a big problem. Like Z moves and Dynamaxing kind of are the same thing in a way. Like Dynamax. First of all, I don't even like Dynamaxing. I think Dynamaxing is a shitty mechanic. So like having to deal with that is going to be annoying by itself. But then you also have Terra types. Like, how are you going to be able to balance that? Going, what if like a Mega facing like a Terra type Pokemon? It's gonna have so much shit in it that I feel like it's gonna get way too complicated at a certain point. And also, we don't even know if it would have rental teams or this and that, or if you'd only
Now
be able to
I feel like you
transfer.
I feel like you would have to because you don't want to lock all people out. So I think rentals. So a lot of stuff pulled from the Pokemon Stadium games up in here, and then hear me out. It wouldn't be just that, like what I mentioned with Dynamax and Z moves or Mega Evolutions and stuff like that. Also, stuff that happened in series past that we don't see brought up
It
anymore.
better have
Obviously,
fucking triple
obviously,
battles.
yeah,
It
obviously you
better
have
have
your single
rotation
and
battles.
double. Yeah, you stole the words out of my mouth. Triple battles and rotation battles, like bring that mess back.
It better.
That would actually get me to incentivize me to actually play the heck out of this mess because I love those. Triple battles was cool, but rotation battles that's like a little chess game right there. Like it didn't matter who you walk up in with what kind of
I
roster team. When you have 12 different moves you can use at any given point, and you have to predict what the other 12 moves that other person across the row from you would do. Not only those 12 different moves, but which Pokemon will wind up hitting it. Weaknesses, resistance, all of that stuff comes into play. That's really cool.
oh
So I would love to see that be brought back.
I hope so. I definitely think that Pokemon Champions is them showing, hey, okay, here's your turn-based game. We're gonna do something different for the next Pokemon game. Because Legend ZA is gonna not, it's Legend ZA is not gonna be a regular RPG. It's gonna be action, like dodging and stuff. It's not gonna be turn-based, which is honestly the thing I'm most excited about. I want Gen 10 to just not be a turn-based RPG anymore. I want
Yeah.
Pokemon to completely change the formula. It needs it. It desperately needs it.
Hmm.
Either way, I'm excited. That's my big prediction, though. And I actually do firmly believe it. I firmly do believe Gen 10 will be at least making some kind of confirmation, some kind of appearance, some kind of gameplay reveal. Something's happening related to Gen 10 in this presence. Of course, like, if we're talking about my actual, like, keeping expectations low, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in like not hoping for it, and then hopefully get pleasantly surprised by it.
Hmm. Okay. All right.
We'll see. I personally think the timing is right, and Nintendo definitely wants to give customers assurance that Pokemon will be coming.
Hmm.
Because right now, let's be honest, they don't really have a system seller for late 2025. Legend ZA is gonna be a Switch 1 game too. So it's not really gonna be a Switch 2 system seller, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been down to basically at that point the Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment
Which
or
that's not a system
slash
seller either.
Kirby. I mean, Zelda kind of is, but would it be in the spinoff and not necessary or not? Well, I guess basically not a mainline
Now,
title, basically.
Warriors games are a lot more niche than you give them credit for. I think Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity did okay, but the fact of the matter is, people were already kind of iffy on Tears of the Kingdom's story. This one already has less of a hook going for it.
Yeah, so I don't
We'll
know.
see. But, speaking of that, since we're kind of getting into regular Nintendo talk, I want to just mention it really quick as kind of like the last one more topic. Nate the Hate, which got everything correct about Switch 2's reveal, has said that there will be a Nintendo Direct in July after Donkey Kong Bonanza's release. Do you think it will be this week, or do you think it will be end of July next week?
Now
Because
here's
I
the
think that
thing.
makes
Here's the
sense.
thing.
I think that's happening.
I don't think it will be this week because you got the Pokemon Presents that literally happens in 2 days from now. I think, to the best of my knowledge, when I look back at all those Pokemon Presents, which they typically like to happen February, have a long history of it, and typically there would be a second one in the year, and that's typically in August. But sometimes, like what's happening now, can be a month before or after, like what we're getting in July. To the best of my knowledge, I don't ever remember there being a time when they managed to put out a legend or not legends. They managed to put out a Pokemon Presents and a Nintendo Direct all in the same week. They might have been one week was one week was another back in those E3 days when they were trying to get stuff out the door before having the E3 presentation. but I don't ever remember both of them happening the same week. So it made sense for Donkey Kong not to do it before that. So have its own shine in the spotlight.
But I definitely
Let
think it's
Pokemon,
coming.
yeah, let Pokemon do its
Like
thing this week. It'll be the week after where we all have to be on watch, because the
we
reason
have
why I think we had to almost get a Nintendo Direct at this point is just to get those release dates for a lot of those other games. And if you think back to that April presentation that we had for the Switch 2 presentation as a whole, in that month of April, they managed to say, "Hey, look, in 2 months from now, Mario Kart World is coming out. 2 months. That's all they gave it for that
like
game.
you know
If we want to have Metroid Prime 4 come out in the month of September, you kind of got to talk about it some
like
point or give it the release date at a bare minimum before July is up."
you want me to give my predictions?
What?
I think Nintendo realizes they need to do something big. I think Nintendo is not gonna necessarily release a big game at the end of 2025, but they're gonna announce a big game for 2026 in this direct. I think this direct will end or maybe even start with the reveal of Animal Crossing.
Nah, I think that's too much.
I
No,
don't
because
think so.
the reason
I
why I
mean, come
also
on,
say that's
Animal
too much
Crossing New
because
Hor-
Animal Crossing and Splatoon developers are, they both work on,
you say
those
that,
two series.
but
We
like,
got Splatoon Raiders in the works right now. So are
yeah,
we
but
really splitting up that team right now?
yes, because Splatoon Raider. First of all, Nintendo has only grown. Second of all, Splatoon Raiders is definitely going to be like a bit of a smaller project, and It's doing something completely new. So I think it's going to be a little more. It's going to have less people on it than a normal Splatoon game would. You don't really have to do as much. You don't. You know what I mean? You don't got to do online. You don't got to do balancing. You don't got to do netcode or online or this or that. It's mostly the people that did the Splatoon 3 single player that have to just do another single player again. That's really all that you gotta get. Besides that, though, I think it will either start or end with Animal Crossing. I think it will reveal another smaller game, whether that's like a Mario sports game or whether that's a Fire Emblem Genealogy, the Holy War remake. Yeah, I think that will be announced. I think we'll get one or two Switch 2 editions or maybe a Switch 2 update of a previous game. And then I think we will start getting those release dates and updates on games we already know. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to get its last big hook. It's going to get that trailer with the big hook and to get people really excited. Show off more of those psychic powers and reveal the game for a September release date.
Hmm. Yeah, because I'm I'm just trying to look at mainline titles for Animal Crossing games.
It's it's going to
2001, 2005, 2008, 2012. Dog, that was a big leap from New Leaf to New Horizons.
Well,
2012
that's
to
mostly because the Wii U
2020.
fucking bombed. I guarantee New Horizons was gonna be like a Wii U game at one point. At one point, they were probably working on an Animal Crossing Wii U game, and then they just fucking bailed.
Now, granted, we
And
got
then, because
spin-offs
remember,
in
we got that
between, but
update for New Leaf. We got that Welcome Amiibo update for New Leaf. So they probably just they took a bunch of content and just added it to New Leaf because they realized the Wii U was a sinking ship. Um, I don't know. Animal Crossing feels like a perfect fit. Reveal Animal Crossing, and just revealing Animal Crossing will get a ton of people to buy a Switch too.
mm,
That's what Nintendo wants. They want a bunch of people already on Switch 2 so they can try out the other games they're releasing. That's what happened with Switch 1. People bought Breath of the Wild, bought Mario Odyssey, and then, as little companion pieces, they bought other games. They bought Arms, they bought this, they bought that, they bought Luigi's Mansion. They tried out other games once they already have the system.
yeah, that
I
could
don't know.
could be the case. I don't know.
We'll see. I just think Nintendo definitely is doing a direct, even if we don't get that fucking Animal Crossing thing we said. I said I think without a doubt they got to do some kind of direct because I don't think they're gonna shadow drop a release date for Metroid Prime 4 on Twitter. Like, come on. You
No,
can't
yeah,
do that.
not
You
after,
can't fucking do
not
that.
after how many times? Well, obviously with the delays and stuff, and they literally had moments on YouTube where they came out white background and everything, apologizing for the thing. That it has to get a little bit of a little bit better fanfare for the actual release
Yeah,
date for when that does come out, though. I
yeah.
don't
You need to
think
have a big trailer
I
for
ain't
it.
leaning on your idea of Animal Crossing being the thing in the direct though. But I am leaning on this, this Fire Emblem though. Like that.
I
That's the
just
only
think.
thing I'm banking on right now. That's the only
Well,
thing I
I
really
just
need
think.
out of this presentation.
I just think it makes sense, honestly, because I think in September, when we would usually get our September direct, we're not going to get it. I think we're just not going to get a September direct because they've already revealed a bunch of games for 2026 ahead of time. We got the Duskbloods coming in 2026. We got Tomodachi Life and Rhythm Heaven coming in 2026. Let's just say they reveal Animal Crossing for 2026. That's already your big game for the beginning of the year. And then, if you want my humble opinion, I think we're getting a 40th anniversary Mario Direct sometime later in the year.
Oh, you know what? If that would have been the case, then July, the last week, that would be our general Nintendo Direct, and that would be the
Yeah,
last one of this
exactly.
year. You can still have a September Direct, but it's not going to be a general Nintendo
It'll be
Direct. That could
Mario
be a
Direct,
Mario Direct,
and
and
then
that would
and then
make
3D
sense.
3D Mario is gonna show up there.
No, I don't think 3D Mario will be showing up. I'm sorry,
Well,
but
whatever.
anyway.
Well, I'm just saying. I think that makes perfect sense. If they have, they always do a direct around June. So if they're doing a direct around July, that makes me think that the plans this year are going to be different. That's why I think Animal Crossing is going to happen, because it would make sense if they're not going to do a direct for the rest of the year. They need to get all this info out now. They need to give us like a sizable direct. They need to reveal a big game to get people thinking for a while, and they need to give us all these release dates. And stay tuned on Nintendo Today to see more updates on these games as they come.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think that's about it in terms of all of our predictions for the Pokemon Presents and a little bit of a sneak peek at what could be a prediction stuff for what could be a Nintendo Direct that might happen in the last
I
week of
think it will.
July.
I think it will.
Because if that were to be the case, then we'll have two directs to talk about in the next episode. Whenever we have that, though. Which honestly, I am looking at my calendar right now, Steven. You might hate me for this, though. Well, no, I might be traveling that weekend. Yeah, I might be traveling that weekend, but I think I might get back just in time enough to do this show. We might just throw it together real quick, though, but it might still be possible. Anyway, though, that's pretty much all that I have in terms of my ZardCast episode 107, though. So, Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can find me on twitter.com at StephenJr1231, or you can find me on a collab channel I do with some friends called Spaghetti Disco on YouTube.
Alrighty. And that's going to do it for this episode, though. So if you really like this and you haven't been watching this here live on YouTube or after the fact, make sure you're going to hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. If you hadn't been listening to this on one of my audio formats where it happened to be, YouTube Music, it happens to be Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, you can listen to me in the car on any one of those different kind of podcast servers, or whichever one happens to be your choice. Just make sure to go ahead and leave a like, leave a short little review. Just let people know that, hey, we're just a couple dudes that just love talking about, all things gaming, pop culture related stuff, some Marvel stuff whenever we get it, which I skipped over it this week. I might talk about it in the next episode because I hadn't sat down and watched all of the episodes of Ironheart, though. But when I do, I'll give my thoughts on that. So more to come a little later, though, and everything else in between. Oh yeah, shoot! I think at what is it? No, by the next time we have this next episode, Steven, I think Fantastic Four will be out. So we got to talk about that
Yeah,
too. Oh crap!
and I didn't mention it during the earlier sections, but Superman came out, and we probably would have both seen it by then.
No, I'll see
Um,
it by the time we have our next episode. So
so yeah,
we'll have
fine.
a
We'll
good
talk about
we'll have a good
Superman
chunk
then.
of pop culture stuff to talk about in that next
Yeah,
episode.
I definitely want to talk about Superman then, though. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, that I mean, yeah, we'll be talking about that. Fantastic Four and probably Jurassic World because I'll see that movie too. So
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
a meaty pop culture segment next time though. Pretty meaty though. All right, well, that's going to do it in terms of this one episode, though. So y'all got a little sneak peek of what some of the topics will be for the next episode, though. So that's going to do it, truly, for episode 107 of the ZardCast podcast, though. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, until my next episode, that being my ZardCast episode 108, I'll see y'all later.